Good morning and welcome to today's live show. Remember, if you're not watching this live, make sure to tune into the last 15 minutes so we can give you a little breakdown towards the end of the stream. So if you're not watching this live, tune in, just click forward, look for the last 15 minutes of the stream and give you a little breakdown. Now, today we did get Nvidia earnings, and that's what we're watching today as we do approach our weekly expected move. If you're over on Patreon, the link's down in the description. You can get the weekly expected moves, which I can tell you right now from the pre-market, $1,011.77. Okay, well, where is the weekly expected move for Nvidia today? It is actually higher than this, so we still do have some room to the upside. I was actually looking at some dark pool data of the outflows of the flow. If the insiders are getting into Nvidia, or if they're getting out, and I can tell you right now, they've been getting out. So that is very interesting. We're going to see a huge gap up, but is this going to be short-lived? We'll have to find out going into today, but good morning, Donald. First one to comment in today is Donald. It's like a competition. First one in. There it is. Donald Perry, get your coffee ready because we got a lot to go over today. The SPY, obviously, what are we getting here? Gap ups, right? We're getting gap ups because of Nvidia. So we're going to pay attention to that put call ratio this morning. Look at that. This is how we get screwed, right? We see that turn back up. So what are we paying attention to? Well, do the 15 minutes give us a hint? Ooh, well, before a big event, this is what we were talking about. Hey, before a big event, remember, we can get screwed over by that big event. Is this going to last? That's what we're going to have to find out. If you wanted to go over to the Qs, we're going to see a similar thing, right? We're going to see a similar thing. Looks like we got screwed. Oh, look at that. It's right by that weekly expected move. So if we make it outside of there, we got a little bit of time for that 68% chance to land back in this zone. Remember, this is priced in by the options market. 460.73 is as high as we're supposed to go for this week, and we're hitting that as of this morning with a little bit of time left to see that drop off. Someone just asked about Apple, so let's go look at Apple. Is it going to sell off soon? Well, we told you it was going to sell off most likely up here, and what's happening now? Boom. So we are selling off. Yes, Apple is selling off as of right now. You just want to pay attention. How can you get screwed? Well, 15-minute curling up into positive territory. Now, if that curls up for a moment and then rotates back down, we don't really have to be scared. I'd be really paying attention if that goes positive. That's when you really want to see no more. You don't really expect more downside, right? You don't expect more downside. But if you're asking if Apple's going to sell off, it already did. So this is the sell-off, and now you want to pay attention to probably a 30-minute right by positive territory. If that curls up, no reason to go short on this move. But what we could see here, what it would be very, very cool would be if we actually see this come down to this base level here, point of liquidity, then we can see, do we get a full turnaround, or do we see some kind of bounce that leads to a head and shoulders for Apple? That's what I'd be paying attention to. But very, very cool to see Apple actually do the right thing here, right? I think it was right around here on Tuesday. You got that signal. This here was telling you, hey, well, there is downside potential. And what did we pay attention to the next day? Seeing this bar right here, what did we pay attention to right away? Well, we were saying, uh-oh, people are buying a lot of calls. So this has potential to drop off, and the SPY has potential to drop off. That's what happened. But you do have a big event, which is one of those rocks in the stream, Nvidia earnings. So we'll have to pay attention closely to Nvidia today and see what is going on with that, because what I'm seeing is here, I'll pull it up for you guys. Let's see if I can get this up for you guys. I'll pull it up so you guys can see the picture right here. So this is your dark pool data telling you that the insiders, as of even today, are flowing out of Nvidia. Okay, so this is the dark pool sentiment, and you do have that coming down and down and down. Now that is seeing a rapid move up. This tells me what? It tells me, hey, maybe this move is actually going to fade. So we'll pay attention to that. It doesn't have to fade right away. Sometimes that insider selling can take a little bit more time, but it would tell you that the risk for a drop is a little bit higher for Nvidia. Looking at Tesla, seeing some kind of bounce here, still in positive territory on the 30-minute. We'll have to see if that's able to build back up. And good morning, Carlos, Diana, Miles, Matthew, Sandu, Llama. Welcome, Llama Mama. And John, good morning, guys. Welcome back. Thank you so much. And please like the stream. I know I haven't been live in a little bit, so we need to get more people back in here, more people trading better. I am doing well. I slept really well. I actually have a desk, and I set up my monitor last night. What about a good morning for Joe? Joe Jacks. Yeah. Good morning, Joe Jacks. Good morning, Paul E. Okay, Paul E, not D. All E, not D. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we'll have to see if Tesla's able to see an upward move here. And I do have my weekly ranges on my left screen, so I can help you guys out towards the end of the week with those weekly ranges. If you want those at the beginning of the week, I try to, we put those out for Patreon on all these stocks. And Amazon looks like, what does it have here? Well, it possibly has a higher low, so maybe this wants to turn up. I'd really watch out if Amazon starts to catch a bid and curl into positive territory on the 2 hour. I think this is going to happen for Amazon. I think you're going to get some kind of pop, and that's just going to be ripped away. I think this 2 hour is going to pop up like this and then get ripped away. But like I say, a lot of the time, it does not matter what I think. It matters what actually happens. So if that goes positive, that whole scenario kind of goes out of the window. And we could see a big upside move. Now let's get into Nvidia. This one here, obviously, we can't even see the price right now because it is way up here as we open up. So we're going to have to pay attention to this today. This is very important. What are we paying attention to? Well, I want to see the daily scale. Now we're hitting a slightly overbought reading, and I did look at the insiders. I just flashed that up. All you need to know about the insider sentiment there is that it's been down for this like a long time here, which just tells me they're most likely selling into this last move. Okay, so maybe they're saying this is actually going to fade. But if people keep trying to short this, it's going to keep going up. So if we pay attention to how many people were trying to short Nvidia going on into today, I can actually pull that up as well. And we're going to do that right now. All right, I'm going to go look at it real quick. Let me pull up some max pain levels so we can get that going for you. And make sure to always, just let me know if the stream's acting good. Remember, this is just mainly a tester week. And then I'm going to get fully set up once my desk gets here. It got delayed twice now. God. So my couch gets here a little early, and then my desk, which I really need, did not get here early. It looks like they updated their website a little bit. It's actually a little bit cleaner for max pain. So to the upside, we did have a good amount of calls. So 0.78 call ratio above 1,000. I'm expecting people to take profit somewhere between 1,000 and 1,050. But we haven't hit that weekly expected move. So we'll pay attention to that going forward. And it doesn't look like a lot of people were trying to short this, but you do have a put amount of almost 300,000 contracts. So that's pretty impressive. Alrighty, we got a lot to get into today. We're getting back into it. Thoughts on Shop? We will get into that right after we go through AMD. AMD seeing an upward move here. Now this on these shorter time frames. Remember, this on the shorter time frames, a little bit of divergence going on here. So if this doesn't see a rapid upward move, this could actually fade. Okay, so we could see this actually start to fade. And remember, because we had more calls for Nvidia, yeah, sure, that first move goes up, but if people keep buying calls in this area, then puts become cheap and that algorithm can sell you off. Same thing can be said for AMD. Now that we've broken out, is this going to be some kind of trap? We'll pay attention today. I'm kind of feeling trappy. Anybody else feeling trappy out there? Feeling a little trappy today. All right. So yeah, just want to pay attention with AMD. Is that able to confirm that triple divergence? Meta making a good upward move here. So Meta was another one that was beat down a little bit, and the 2 hour can curl back up. There's one thing going on here though, and you can see it right here on your screen. Boom, this right here looks like a good base. This looks like a left. This looks like a head. This looks like a right shoulder. So you are curling up on the 2 hour. Good sign that you want to see upside, but just pay attention to how you can get screwed if you're trying to take any upside for Meta. And what I would do is just go into a 30-minute, see if this rolls over and goes negative at any time, right? This seems pretty controlled as of right now. So you want to see a rapid upward move to see some strength and then take you above this point right here and this point right here, and then you can go make that new high. So as of right now, what would happen from this? Well, the measured move would most likely at least give you a test of 453.08 if we see downside. So you got to be open to both sides. It will really help you out as a trader. Tony, we will get to Shopify in just one moment. Microsoft, this one, heading higher, but it's been tight for a long time, okay? It's been tight for a while. We're probably going to expect some kind of volatility to step in here. I'm going to dig down into a 15-minute and show you guys, hey, look at that, triple divergence right away this morning. So pay attention if things start to fade, but we could see more upside, okay? So pay attention if things start to fade, because let's go look. This morning, we have the calls. The calls are still high, which means puts are a little bit cheaper. Puts are a little bit cheaper, and I think the algorithms know that at this point. All right, let's go look at Google for a moment. This one here looked like it wanted to break down. It started to make a lower low. Now we have to see, is it going to get rejected from this level? I think that's a big point to pay attention to. You have triple divergence on the 15-minute or the 30-minute here. Just see if that's actually able to roll over. You can see the 2-hour here. I believe this was able to roll over for a moment. Yeah, it was able to roll over, confirming another multiple point divergence here, but you don't necessarily have this one's pretty flat, right? And this one's actually up. So you really just have one divergence between these levels. The big thing with Google, though, on the daily scale, look at that thing. It is just ripping and ripping and ripping higher. And right when everyone takes all the calls, right when all the retailers think, hey, I got to take calls here, I got to stop missing out on these big upward moves, that's when they rip it away from you. So let's go look at volatility, and then we're going to look at Shopify, okay? July 19th just seems to what happened. How long is your call option, Lucas? I've got a couple more weeks for that call option. So nothing too crazy on that, but all right, and let's see what's happening with the volatility. This big pop here started to fade, did not cross up on the daily MACD. Remember, the daily MACD, that's when you really want to pay attention because volatility can come in quickly. 30-minute, yeah, you had divergences. Now you've kind of gotten rid of those divergences on the 30-minute. So the 30-minute, maybe not the best one to pay attention to, but then I want you to look at this RSI. You got a low reading here on this RSI over here, and then you have a little bit higher one. So you do have a divergence on the RSI with these lows. So what should we look at? The 2-hour. We got to look at the 2-hour, and look at this. We're making another point of divergence. So am I out of my UVXY play? I'm going to scale in again right now. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to scale in. I think this is going to fade, but that's just what I'm doing, guys. I wouldn't advise you. You got to do your own research, formulate your own plan. I've had this plan in place for a few days now while I've been moving. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to pay attention to UVXY. Not going to take an option play on it. I'm just going to buy it and scale into it. UVXY, the triple, the 3 times leveraged ETF for volatility going up, right? So a bullish volatility play here. And I think that's going to really start to rip to the upside. Don't pay attention to the divergences here. You want to do your analysis on the VIX here. Okay, let's pop over to Shopify for Tony real quick. Okay, we're going to pop over to Shopify. Just look at this for a second. Still in a range at this moment. So the only thing that's bad about this range is what's it doing? It's causing the MACD to do exactly what we say to wait for when you see a big drop, right? Sometimes we do this on the 30-minute, but if that takes longer, you can look at a 2-hour and look at this. Moving sideways, getting close to center line. If that creates a red impression, we might head a little bit lower. And then if you're expecting some kind of bounce down here, you really hope that this tapering here holds. You see how we kind of tapered off? We're not dramatically dropping, like drop, and then we taper right away. So if these bars would have continued, in this kind of pattern, then you'd be a little bit more worried. As of right now, you could see some kind of drop again like that with that same selling like this over here. But if we can do this and stay within that tapering, maybe we get a little 2-hour divergence and Shopify is able to bounce in the future. But as of right now, you would say swing trader, okay, if this crosses down on the MACD, crosses below on the center line on the RSI, the direction was chosen, okay, then that can start to drop. But once we start to break above this range, that's going to be a little bit more difficult to break down. So in the shorter time frames, you see we're kind of flagging out there. So just pay attention. I'd really pay attention for downside here as that direction was chosen. The dollar dropping off a little bit, but is it dropping off enough? Is it going negative? Is it doing the things that it needs to do to really see a dramatic drop? I wouldn't say so just yet. And if I take this point, like almost right over here, actually, and I just draw it across like this, you can see we're right on that line as of right now. And that's why I'm really paying attention to some kind of fading today. I think is very, very possible. Dow Jones dropping down to lower levels while the SPY and the Qs actually head higher. Not a very good sign. Now, what do we want to pay attention to in case there is some kind of crash? Maybe XLU will give us a hint today. This is not good. Look what is happening, okay? This is probably one of the most important things you can pay attention to as of right now. If this confirms, I believe this move is going to fade and we're actually going to see the stock market head down from this level. So the SPY most likely is going to head down from this level with the XLU proving that. You moved again? Yeah, so actually when I did move, I moved from Georgia back to Kansas, and I had to just like call up a buddy and be like, hey man, I know that you have a space available. I have a pit bull and it's really hard for me to rent a place, and I didn't have time to like look at places, so he helped me out. He let me rent his spot for a little while, which was awesome. It was very, very good, but I was trying to move out of there within like 6 months. So I actually we just got a little townhome. We were going to buy, but the way that rates are, the way that the housing market is, I'm like, hey, let's just find a cheap place to rent. You're the best. Great analysis. Thank you so much, Tony. I hope that was really, really helpful. Like I said, guys, I'm going to not be pulling punches anymore. If it's a stock that I think is worth looking at and can be broken down very well, then I will be trying to give you as much info as possible with everything that's going on and how rigged the actual market happens to be. You know, originally I thought, hey, yeah, the market's a little rigged, but we can play the game. Now I just know, hey, they hired rocket scientists to create algorithms. These market makers hired rocket scientists. They admitted it themselves. This isn't me making it up. You can go look. A Citadel guy said it. So he said, hey, yeah, we hired rocket scientists to create algorithms that can perfectly find when pretty much retail is buying calls and the calls are too expensive at that point. And that's usually when retail is taking calls. And then what do? Well, the algorithm flips it perfectly every time. So Nvidia here did have calls in it and it can head up. But the moment that is too expensive, and right now we're hitting that weekly expected move. Just so you know, we're pretty much hitting that weekly expected move right now. So that's telling me, well, maybe I need to pay attention to what's happening. Calls are still in. Calls are still in there. So I've been paying close attention to this, and this really looks like we are going to see some fading. Doesn't have to, but as of right now, you have Nvidia outside of the monthly, outside of the weekly. Now, this is a little bit towards the end of the month, and it's a little bit towards the end of the week. And if this continues to squeeze, if people keep buying puts, then that means calls are still going to be cheap, and the algorithms will continue to head up, okay? They will say calls. They're still cheap. But once those are too expensive, that's when they rip it away from you. And it might be pretty dramatic, so that a lot of profit taking was happening with the insider. So it might be a little bit more dramatic. Let me fix some stuff over on my other screen here. We are scaled into UVXY as of right now. And we are going to be holding that for a little bit because I don't know when that volatility could come, but it could come today. It could come today. We have the AMC and GME stuff going on. Let's go pop over to that just for a split second here. Look at that gold play, by the way. Remember, we were telling you up in this area, this is not what you want to see. Gold has daily divergence. So if you did pay attention to Patreon, I posted gold and I said, this is a place to take profit. And if you were looking at the signals, you might have even shorted this. And then you would say, okay, now I have a daily divergence. At the same time, I had a 2-hour or a 30-minute triple divergence. And good play here. If that confirms, I can say, oh, I can hold on to that month-out position. That's why I like to take a month-out position. It allows me, someone was talking about, hey, yeah, it doesn't allow you to make the maximum amount of money. What if the move is bigger than you expect? Then you're going to wish you had a bigger expiration, in my opinion. In my opinion, you would wish for that. And that's something that's helped me out a lot. All right, let me just rotate some stuff around here. We already have some halts coming in. I do have the halts up on my other screen. Let's go look at one of those, actually. Let's look at one of those for fun. A-K-A-N, Aconda Corp. Okay, so this one was one of the ones that got pumped. Now it's starting to drop back down. So we're seeing that money just completely ripped out of these. Let's go look at AMC. AMC dropping off after that good push. That was a good push higher. This is exactly what you want to see with momentum in this type of thing. For the meme stocks to head up from here, you're getting positive territory. You're still positive as of right now. If that rolls over and goes negative, that's where you would pay attention to downside. But as of right now, we're holding 437. We're still holding 437. Remember, we mentioned 437 way over here, and 437, we're pretty much holding it. And then I said it would be very cool if we came down and tested that again, giving us some actual divergence. Because right now, this is technically not the best divergence, but you do see the momentum indicators kind of saying they want to go up from here. GME, this one really struggling, still 50-50 at this point. Not getting a solid green bar into positive territory, not getting a solid red bar into negative territory. So we have to pay attention closely to these. This is really just flagging. So if you were trading this, really you would say the most likely scenario here is it's in a negative trend and GME is actually going to head down. Now that's the most likely scenario. But all this has to do is turn right back around, break through resistance, and you might see some upside there. and maybe we do get some squeeze and some squeeze. And ooh, SMCI. Anybody see that? That's a good move by SMCI. Solid move. Solid move. Now let's go back over to Nvidia. This one up here just screaming higher, way overbought on the 30 minutes. So maybe we don't want to pay attention to a 30-minute. Maybe we'll look at a 2-hour here. No real divergences on the 2-hour. So this would be a very interesting fade if it happened, because you don't necessarily have those weakness signals coming in. I know, I'm going to pop something up for a second here. 24 likes. Let's get it to 100, guys. We got 100 people in here. Let's get 100 likes in this bad boy by today. Nvidia still playing with that weekly expected move. About pretty much you want to pay attention to about 1,020 to 1,050. That area in there can be trappy. So we'll have to see if this is going to fade by end of day. The thing is, I don't know I don't think there's any news that would necessarily cause this to happen. So I think you're really saying if that short squeeze thing happens with AMC and GME, that's when you can really see that ripped away, or if you just see some profit taking. So as of right now, not a lot going on. We have initial jobless claims coming in at 215. So remember, people still not reacting like everyone's just reacting bullish all the time. Initial jobless claims coming in lower, which is bad for inflation. And then last week, and we see positive reactions across the board, except for pretty much on the Dow, right? SPY green. The Dow is the only one going negative. And last week we got bad jobs data, bad for people, right? We got high initial jobless claims, which tells you that the initial jobless claims going up. And that would be people getting unemployed. And that's where we were kidding. We were like, oh, yay, people are unemployed, so the market goes up. Well, look at this. Now, more people are employed or not as unemployed, and the market goes up too. So we're just in a very bullish environment, and I think that people are getting addicted to the call side as of right now. I think the bulls are thinking they're geniuses, and this might be ripped away pretty quick. Now, note this, we're not ever just strictly bullish, strictly bearish, right? We're always paying attention to two things at once. But as of right now, I said, hey, this is most likely to fade. We really have to get back into this range. This could be a retest as of right now for the SPY. All right, let's see. What are you guys chatting about? Apple dropping off hard, and Apple's what we were talking about yesterday. And if you were part of the Patreon, we put out the Patreon weekly update video. Remember, we're going to start those back up. And I kept mentioning Apple. I was like, Apple looks like the best one. Apple looks like the best one to the downside. Apple looks like, I was like, looking at even Nvidia, looking at AMD, looking at all these things, I was like, well, Apple looks like it's going to suffer. Even Tesla, I was like, this one looks kind of wonky, right? It looks kind of wonky in this area. Apple looks like the one that's going to head down. I will only be bullish. I would be very careful. That's exactly the 50x trading. I know it's frustrating, but you were trying to be logical. It depends on how logical you were being. If you were trying to be logical by saying Nvidia is really high, so it's going to see a drop. How about this? I'm going to ask you one question, 50x. Did you trade around the earnings for Nvidia? Did you trade Nvidia for its earnings? Good morning, BK. JC, Snowflake down after earnings last night. Uh-oh, Mojoma. It's stupid to short Nvidia right now. Hard not to. I wouldn't say it's stupid. I would say if you take out a longer position, it is more diligent to scale into a position. I'm not going to short it. I am going to build a volatility position because I think that volatility is going to come in. I think that the insiders are flowing out of Nvidia as of right now. They are. I saw it in the data. The insiders are flowing out of Nvidia right now. I didn't trade earnings, but I have shorts holding since 600 and I'm still holding. The problem with Nvidia is it's trading a whopping 20x sales, and you're correct. You're correct, and that's where one thing to pay attention to was where was it at with $600, right? $600 was around this area. What are you noticing on a weekly scale? That since you're taking a longer out position, you can pay attention to a weekly scale if this thing loads. And what did we do? Well, we crossed up right here. So this tells you should take no downside, no downside, no downside, no downside, no short, no short, no short, no short. And then right here, you could say maybe. This right here, you could say maybe. Then it crosses back up. You say nope, nope, nope. So there's no reason to short this long term just yet, but you're creating that divergence right now. So now would be the time where you're like, okay, now I can think about it. Now I can think about it. Now I can go into a daily scale. Okay, here's your trigger for a 2-month position to the downside, or at least for how I would do things. And if I was going to take a trade on this, I'm not going to fight Nvidia. This is one of the manipulated stocks, and it's manipulated to the upside, unfortunately, by the insiders, I think. Now the insiders are getting out, so who do I think is holding the bag as of right now? I think retail is slowly becoming a bag holder here. And what's going to happen? This is going to cross on its MACD. Then you have divergence. This is the moment, right? If you see a move like this is the moment to say, hey, I'm going to take a 2-month out play. That's the moment. But throughout this whole run, you didn't even have really daily divergences throughout this whole run. Look at this. You didn't have any real divergences throughout this whole run. So not trying to call you out. I'm just telling you how you can look at it a little bit, 50x. And I know it can really piss you off, but that's exactly what they're trying to do. I used to think that the market was like, hey, maybe like 50% rigged. Now I think it's like 90% rigged, because here's the thing. They say that, retail traders I think it's retail traders lose like 85% of the time, and then day traders lose 90 to 95% of the time. Okay. So that would either mean retail traders are just really, really, really stupid, or there is a major disadvantage like at a casino. And stocks aren't supposed to have a disadvantage like a casino. Everyone is supposed to get the same data, and then you're all supposed to make educated decisions. And so the fact that this is actually happening, it kind of just leans me towards, this is Nvidia is probably one of the most pumped rigged things, and I think that it will be ripped away eventually. But because it's AI, it's probably going to hold up better than other stocks, even if it is ripped away. So we're paying attention to the signals. Can it go into a negative trend? Yes, it can. If this crosses down, if you get a red impression here, that's the moment where you could say, okay, in the next 2 months, most likely Nvidia is going to test this low. Do you think it could reach over 800 post-split, like in the near future? It's a 10-to-1 split. So wouldn't that mean that it's priced at $103 from here? Can it go to 800? No. I don't think that's going to 800 after the split. The amount of volume that is in this right now, and the environment we're in right now, I wouldn't be surprised if after the split, the 10-to-1, if it goes down to $103 from where it's at right now, right, because of the split, not because of any selling. I want to be clear about that. But if it goes to 103 after that split, all right, well, I think that it is probably going to go down to something like $57. You should really learn fundamentals right now. Nvidia is undervalued. Only thing bringing the stock down is earnings and forward guidance coming down. That's perfectly fine. I don't care about fundamentals that much. I used to be a fundamental trader, and that really screwed me over. So I'm in no way thinking fundamentals matter in this market. I'm paying attention to signals, and I don't trade around earnings, because that's one of the only times fundamentals can really hurt me. I would like, Esker, I don't think you understand that momentum is half of the game. Actually, it's probably like 70% of the game, and then they'll usually call what's happening beforehand. So up in this area, we had 2-hour divergence. We knew that that would drop off. We didn't care what reason that was. Never use fundamentals and I am profitable. Exactly. If you're using fundamentals, then you would be in agreement with who? You'd be in agreement with Jim Cramer and all those people who tell you that things are good or things are bad right when they're really high, right? We've talked about Jim Cramer calling Nike, and then literally 2 days later it crashed down by 20%. You could find a million of those. So the SPY, what am I saying? If fundamentals mattered, then we wouldn't be up here. Esker, if fundamentals mattered, we wouldn't be up here. Why? Well, we have really high yields, and that's really bad for growth stocks. So the key is, if high yields are bad for growth stocks, why are we higher? Yeah, that's fundamentals, and fundamentals do not matter. What matters is this type of stuff. What matters is we crossed up on the MACD, we were able to go positive, and we called the short squeeze. And that's perfectly fine. We were able to make money in this move. This is a great move. Now we're just saying this is where we have to pay attention, because things could drop off a little bit. Does it have to crash? No, doesn't have to crash. We can just pull back and keep going. They can keep rigging it all they want. That's perfectly fine with me. I'm going to play their game now. I've been playing their game for years. I just didn't know how much I was playing their game for years. I thought it was like, oh, they matter like 50%. No, they really do matter like 100%. I have seen things now that have shown me how they have manipulated indicators. They have given readings on indicators that are rigged. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Psychology and momentum is the most important variable in today's market. And I wanted to point out 50x. 50x, I wanted to point you out just for a second, not calling you out, but just to use you as an example for a moment to say, this is exactly what they want to hear. They want to hear, I give up trying to short this. I give up. I'm going to buy calls. That is the exact emotional moment where it will start to fall down. If enough people have that, it's going to fall down. Philip, fundamentals mean nothing since they allowed stocks to not pay dividends. Yeah, I mean, you could just say anything about fundamentals and it does not matter unless it's around an earnings where, you know, they can make things flip back and forth. But then you could argue they know what's going to happen or the stock can go up with bad news. Remember Tesla? Remember Tesla? Remember Tesla? Do you really think retail traders push this all the way up here? Do you guys really think that retail pushed Tesla up 43% in like, what, 7 days? No, they did not. That was insiders pushing it up. They needed a reason because guess what? Calls were very cheap right here. Do you know what the puts were very expensive because everyone was shorting this. So, boom, that goes up. Look at the numbers. Hey, fundamentals. Really, really bad. Now, what did they say that made this go up if you're a fundamental person and you want to make sense of it and you believe that nothing is rigged in the market? You would say, oh, they said they're going to make a cheaper EV, which I agree is very good news. Does it justify the potential for a future car that might be a little cheaper? Does that justify 43% growth? No, it doesn't. I'm sorry, it does not. In Nvidia, we're starting to see some resistance come in exactly where we expect, right when 50x gives up on his short position, which I understand. It's at 600. That is very difficult. But right when people give up and say, fuck it, I'm just going to go with the calls, that's when they're going to short the market. If enough of retail traders have that sentiment, you're going to see that in the data. And what are we seeing now? Well, now we're seeing some puts trickle up. So that could mean we're going to continue to go higher, right? If people try to short it early, they need that sentiment of everyone wants calls. And then once everyone wants calls, that's when they rip it away from you. And that's why 90% of the market ends up, 90% or 85% of traders end up losing, is because right when everyone goes calls, you would expect a stock to go up. But for some reason, it drops. Right when everyone's bullish, right when every retail person is bullish on a stock, it goes down. You can look for, if you want to look at, there's multiple things you can look at for this type of data. One of the ones I really like, I do like Max Payne for a week-to-week thing. And then you can look out, months in advance and things like that. As of right now, you see the call side was higher here, but those are sitting around 1,000, 1,050, and 1,100. So right in here, we can pay attention to this little zone because this is a very high number. If we go above that, then people might start to sell that position as we approach Friday close, and people might leave some runners, right? So what we would say is resistance is most likely going to come here. If it's not going to, well, we'll pay attention. But what else do we have? We have a weekly expected move. We have a monthly expected move. So this is technically slightly unexpected by even the market makers because they're the ones creating the option pricing. So that would tell me if people take a bunch of calls right here, they're going to drop the stock dramatically. And I don't care what fundamental thing happens to drop the stock. That's just what the technical side is telling me. Someone did ask about Palo Alto, right? This is starting to build up. This is a gray area to, maybe make a cup, big prolonged cup. If this is a handle, we can head higher. We want to look at those shorter time frames. But if this wants to cross down and go negative, this might be short-lived. We actually might go test this low. We've had a pretty important zone down here for a long time we've paid attention to for Palo Alto. This zone right here could become important again. Okay, so we'll pay attention to this zone again if that actually drops off. But you can see if we look in a shorter time frame, like a 2-hour, where is it? It's by the center line. So if not enough if too many shorts are in right here, well, then calls are cheaper, and that's going to push up. SMCI, look at this. Everyone gets bullish. Everyone gets bullish. We break out just above this high, just barely above this high. We take out the short stops, and we get people bullish by breaking through the high. People buy calls, and then that most likely drops off. So I would really look at, it's called MaximumPain.com. That's a very, very good one. And then I'm playing around with dark pool data as well, because apparently dark pool data is about 50% of the market. Now going to test the monthly expected move for Nvidia. Remember, we can use the monthly as support. Okay, so once we break above it, we can use it as support. So if that call side is coming in pretty hot, we could see a drop. But if people try to short this early, that might be a sign that we're going to actually see the stock go higher. Tesla really dropping off. My goodness. Tesla really dropping off here. 2 hours, that curled down. Curled down, step 1, curled down. Step 2, break through resistance. Step 3, go negative. That would mean that we're going to see a little bit more downside. Then we want to pull up the daily for another confirmation if we want to hold on to it a little longer. Remember, we always pay attention to how we can get screwed. If this starts to cross over on the daily scale, well, then you can hold on to that a little longer. And if you go negative, you might just see a big drop down to this zone, down towards 160. Or I'm sorry, 155. Ah, shoot, there's something I was going to pay attention to. Oh, let's look at this guy. Let's see if this is still giving us that signal. If you pay attention to our weekend videos, we go over some bigger signals that you can pay attention to for bigger pullbacks. Actually, even crash signals. XLU is technically a crash signal. Now, remember that this a lot of the time does go retest the high, so we still can see stocks go higher. But this has crossed down, so we have to be worried at this point. Now, the last 3 times this signal has happened, it has touched the high or gone to make a new one and created a divergence before an actual crash has happened. But this is what happens before a crash. We talked about this weeks ago, before I moved, weeks ago. XLU sees a huge push up, a rapid move up. Okay, that's your signal. Now I got to pay attention to this MACD. If that crosses over, if that's able to confirm today, we probably are going to see weakness in the market soon. And look at this, starting to fade. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something right now. First of all, I'm going to go over to Nvidia. Let's go look at that. Let's go put this on a 2 hour so we can zoom in just a little bit here. Get out of that. Get out of that. We'll stay on that. We will pay attention to dark pools later. So we're going to pull up Nvidia. We're just going to leave it here for a moment. Let's put it on a 30-minute. Let's get really close to it here. Alrighty. Now I can do some fixing of stuff. I'm going to do something right now, because I think volatility is going to go higher. I really do. And I've already scaled into a UVXY position. I'm prepared to scale in a third time if we go a little bit higher. That's perfectly fine with me. I'm just buying it. I am not taking any kind of option play. But what I am going to do is, give me just one moment. Keep your eye on Nvidia for me for a moment. All right. Oh, what the? I just messed this up. Give me 2 seconds here, guys. Oh, that's the button I needed to push. Sorry, I'm trying to fix something real quick for you. Find my damn courses. That's right. We're messing with the courses right now. Because guess what? I think volatility is going to scale up pretty good over in sometime, right? I said maybe a top in May. And look at this. We're starting to head to higher levels. We talked about that as well, but starting to head to higher levels. So what do I need to pay attention to? If we're going to see a little bit of downside. We're going to see a little bit of downside for, I would say, a pullback at this moment. All righty. We are going to fix this for you guys. And 2 more seconds, guys. Just wait. Just wait. It's gonna happen. Fine. Everything's fine. And update. Alrighty, folks. I think volatility is about to scale up in the next, I would say we might see some kind of drop now, and then maybe we get some kind of double top. Maybe we go a little bit higher in the market going into June, but then I think we're going to see something a little bit more dramatic. So when we do see that type of stuff, when I see those type of signals, when I see XLU coming down, I think it's very important for people to gain the skills, right? A bullish market is pretty easy to swing trade in, 2 hour going up, 30-minute going up, 30. You just kind of buy whenever you see the dips. Very easy environment there. Now that things might change and volatility might go higher, that means bigger swings. So right now I am updating my course, and that is just going to be $100. Okay, we're going to make that for $100. And remember, if you already took the course, then that's perfectly fine. If you paid a little extra for the course, that's perfectly fine, because we're going to be adding content to it. As soon as this weekend, we are going to be adding the video called How to Not Get Screwed Out of a Trade. How to not get screwed in a trade, right? So how do we not get screwed out of Nvidia? Well, we probably don't want to trade around earnings. And then we probably don't want to take anything emotional with this. Maybe we want to look at a different stock. Maybe we want to look at Apple. So let's talk about Apple, because this is how we could get screwed. And remember, that link is down in the description. I believe it says $199 as of, or $199 or $200 as of right now. That is not true, right? It had just got changed to $100. You can get that course. Remember, it's just a cheap course because I just want you guys to be able to learn this stuff. And I think it's very, very helpful to you. So if you can check that out, if you want to trade a little bit more like me, I tell you exactly how I do things, exactly the type of stuff I look for in a volatile market, exactly what these indicators, what you need to look for with these indicators, how to use them, why they're important. And also we give you a bear market strategy for when volatility is above, well, you can use it above 16, but I say in the course, I like it to be above 20 for it to be really, really useful. I back tested it. It works 85% of the time when volatility is above 20. So very, very good strategy. You want to give yourself an edge. You want to switch that. You want to flip that edge back to your side in a bear market. That's when you can do it. That's giving you an 85% chance to make money in that market. So it's a doubling strategy. It's very, very cool. I've used it plenty of times. I used it for Apple almost for a whole month. So Apple here giving you this divergence. Now, this here is not where volatility is above 20. So we always, when it's not above 20, this swing here is pretty big. What did I say? I said yesterday, if this just goes down 2%, you double your money. Even if you take like a month out play, I believe you double your money if that just goes down 2%. This here was a double, right? This here is a double, and this is the type of trades we'll be looking at in that course. If you want to get that down in the description, I'm going to change my title real quick, or my description real quick on this video, so people don't think I'm scamming them. It's $100. And then if you want to get it, if you can't do that full amount right now, if that's too big of a chunk for you, $50 a month, but that will be for the 200 price point. So $50 a month for 4 months. But I think you could get it for $100. That's very, very cool. Let me edit something. Let me edit that. Oh, God dang it. Sorry, I'm not used to doing this. Like, I haven't done this in like, what, 4 days? I haven't really been clicking around too much. $100. There you go. I'll flip it. All right. Now in the description, it should say it is $100. Cool. I really just want it to be helpful to you guys. I know that there's people who struggle in these markets. I know that there's people like that, and I am going to be attempting to start one-on-ones once I'm fully set up as well. Dang, Apple is just dropping off. Let's look if that confirmed. Like it's already been crossed on the 2 hour. So really what we want to pay attention to here is the daily scale. If this can cross over, you can hold on to that for a little longer. Maybe you get a full test of the 20. That would be a solid drop. That's a ×3. That might even be a ×4 your money if you can get all the way down there, but it has to happen pretty quick. All right, now that that's all taken care of, I'm just going to exit out of all this teachable stuff. It is it's a video course. It's not like you're buying some kind of pamphlet or something like that. It's a video course. You can ask questions, and I give my email away plenty. Gap fill for Apple, SMCI giving up the gains. SMCI giving up the gains. Uh-oh, not good, not good. Should we look at this? Uh-oh, not good. You guys, this is the crash signal we were paying attention to for a long time. We were paying attention to this crash signal for a while. And we were saying, we were warning about it here. I believe it was somewhere around this area, around 68. I was like, yeah, this thing can keep going rapid. It's once it crosses over, that's a crash signal. Okay? So that is a little bit worried. A little bit worried. AMC, no way that thing's popping. That's popping a little bit. Popping a little bit on AMC. Keep me updated with it, Diana. All right, who wants to see some SMCI? Let's go look at some SMCI real quick. That's down here, isn't it? I'm not even used to looking at my stuff. All right, SMCI, let's go look at this just for a brief moment, and then I'll look at Intel for you. 2 hour has not really rotated up here. Maybe we need to go a little deeper here. 30-minute, able to cross down. Remember, you guys, even though we see that crash signal, even though we see some downside in these stocks, we always want to pay attention to how we can get screwed. So as of right now, what would I pay attention to for SMCI? This doesn't look like the best setup in the world. Maybe I need to look at a different chart just to see, okay, if this 15-minute can actually curl down, then what can we do? We can test the low and we can go make a new one. Okay, so if this is actually able to cross down, maybe that moves a little bit more dramatic this time because we're seeing that signal with XLU. So that's something to pay attention to. Really giving up those gains there, and I think Nvidia might be next to give up those gains. Or what you're seeing is outflows here going back into Nvidia, which could be scary because the insiders are selling Nvidia. Ron Walker is right. I want you to go look. I unsubscribed to Ron Walker. A month ago he said we were going to see a crash down to down 20%, and yeah, it's every single big piece of data. I could, and I'm not going against, I'm not saying he's bad on a daily scale or a weekly scale. He tells you to pay attention to the right things, but a lot of the time I think he is trying to say every single thing is the moment. And I like to say it could be the moment. Here's the signal to pay attention to. I think that's just a little better, but I'm cool with Ron Walker. I'm cool with what he does. I still enjoyed his videos for a little while there, but I just think he too many times is and then what is he going to say? Tomorrow he's going to say, now we're crashing down to oblivion. Now this is the crash. This is the crash. And then it'll start to turn around because we know that XLU is the signal to pay attention to. But we know that a lot of the time, the last 3 times this signal has proven into a crash, it's made a double top, it's made a divergence. So I would really pay attention to this. Now, if that doesn't happen, then we're just going to see more dramatic price action to the downside. We're just going to see more dramatic price action. But he also spotted the bounce from the May low, and that's perfect. Yeah, that's great. He's paying attention to the right signals. That's great. And calling the upside moves is easier, by the way. Yeah, he started giving plan Bs as well. It's just I couldn't take the fact that it's every day he's tomorrow we could see this crash. It's no, you got to pay attention to the right signals. What were we paying attention to? Around this level, he was saying, tomorrow we could crash, tomorrow we could crash, tomorrow we can crash. And he's very well right. But if you're paying attention to the signals, it's now, right now, you're saying we could crash because the signal is telling you, and that's all. But I still respect what he does. I think he's fine. When should I buy AMC? If you're going to buy AMC and you think that there's going to be a short squeeze, I highly suggest you just I'll tell you what I'm doing. I am buying it with an amount of money that I do not care about. Part of it, I am just buying the actual stock in case I need to hold it longer. That's the one that I have suggested when my friends ask about it. I'm just use an amount you don't care about, buy it. Don't even look at it. If something crazy happens, congratulations. But be willing to lose, $100, $200, $500, whatever amount you think is right. If you're trying to do an option on it, you really have to be willing to lose that money, and you have to be still paying attention to the signals. As of right now, AMC looks pretty bullish. As of right now, AMC actually looks pretty bullish from this area. So this is a bullish signal. My 30-minute is bullish right now. This is positive territory, positive trend. Yeah, we're getting a little bit overbought, but you know, if the squeeze is going to happen, this is probably what you would see first, and then that starts to take off. And he begs for donation. Yeah, he's trying not to probably like, I don't know if he just can't formulate a course or if the course would be too expensive and people wouldn't want to buy it or whatever. I just try to be as helpful as possible, and I think that's what kind of made me unsubscribe to him. And it's not a fact that I think he's bad or good. It's more I just don't think he is as helpful as he could be if he just did a little bit more work and thought about what he said. I think he would be more helpful. I don't think he's very helpful the way he does things to individual traders. So therefore I unsubscribe to him. But no bashing him. Like and yeah, the no comments thing is a little sketchy, but we can look at Hood for a second. Okay, 30-minute, if this is kind of how you would get screwed. So I'm going to guess that there's 2 hour stuff here, 2 hour curled down, right? So if you were taking short side here, 2 hour curling down, that's a good sign for some kind of dramatic pull down. Okay, this thing has been really, you know, seeing some pretty big swings. So if this 30-minute can curl up, that's a positive moment, right? That is a continuation of a positive trend, and we didn't necessarily break cleanly through this trend over here, if I can draw it right. Like right now, you're breaking it, so really be patient. If that's able to curl up, hey, okay, that curled up, gave me a green impression. Is that able to go positive? That's the next step. And then you want to watch out because that could fade from this high, so you have to test this high. So it's kind of what we talked about with AMC. A lot of the stuff that we do talk about, we're talking about on AMC as well. Let's not bash by bashing. Well, I'm just being honest, and I'm a person that says, hey, if honesty ends up bashing you, then I'm not bashing you, I'm being honest. So that is a personal thing, not me being disrespectful. I'm just telling it how it is. He's not the most helpful guy in the world, okay? Now, what is happening here? This curls up. Okay, crosses green on this MACD. That's step 1. Step 2, you got to get into positive territory. Step 3, you got to break through resistance. Then you can go make a new high. So pretty much if this curls up and goes positive, we can test this high or go make a new one for Robinhood. I hope that's a little bit helpful. I don't really have ranges or anything like that for Robinhood. Wasn't this one of the squeezing ones? Or am I crazy? Got to be a little careful here. If this drops off a little bit more, sure, this looks like it could form the cup and handle right now, right? Cup and handle. But if this curls down on the MACD on the daily, I would be very cautious taking any upside for Hood going forward. Now, someone else asked a different stock. Intel. I'm sorry. That was it. Intel. INTC. Intel. Ooh, that's not the best look. 2 hours that. Hey, you were able to get positive. That's a good thing. This looks like cup and handle as of right now, but it's really giving it up. So that looks a little bit too dramatic. You see how we come up to the point where we make the cup. Now we maybe make a handle. We break through this level. We start to head higher. So what I would pay attention to, first of all, 2 hour goes negative. What do? Well, you test the low and maybe you go make a new one. So it's looking pretty negative as of right now. Let's look at the shorter time frames. What am I seeing? Yeah, 30 minutes down in a negative trend as well. So if you ever want to get bullish back onto Intel here, you're going to have to see at least the 30-minute curl back up. You're going to have to at least see this curl back up. But I'm going to tell you right now, that's a big selling right there. I'd be very cautious with this move until I would really wait for this to cross and maybe even go positive, because by the time you go positive, you'll probably be up towards $32, and then you can see if you break through this high and go make a new one. Pretty good move because you have liquidity, so you can be patient with it. See that go positive, and then you can see something go up. Someone did ask about gold. Remember, we told you take profit on gold right up in this area. It went a little bit higher after we posted that on Patreon. It went a little bit higher. That's why we just said take some profit. Then up in this area, you start to go, ooh. Toby's the DJ. He likes to scratch stuff, and he sounds like a DJ. But what are we doing? We're testing the first level to pay attention to. Remember, this is where I said, okay, 217.21 is where I want to see a test. If we just rip through that, that's not going to be a good sign for gold because you have daily divergence here, and it is confirming. So gold's saying, I'm going down. Gold is saying I'm going down. Now we can have bounces. We can still pay attention to how we can get screwed. 2 hours curling up, positive territory. But this is not looking pretty as of right now. It's just really not. Now, what do I think about the 10-to-1 split? What do I think about the 10-to-1 split? There's one real thing that could make the 10-to-1 split actually bullish. The fact that it's cheaper, but one thing means, so if it's going to be bullish, I think that some of these AI companies might go to dirt. Okay, I think that the, like you're seeing outflows out of SMCI and things like that, and you're seeing outflows maybe even out of an AMD right now. I don't know for sure, but you're seeing outflows out of that. And I'm guessing a lot of people are like, Nvidia is the winner. It's kind of like the dot-com bubble. Okay, what happened during the dot-com bubble? Well, a few of them were left over and everything, but a lot of the other stocks just went away. Like they were just done. They really got hurt. So I think you could see a moment like that. If Nvidia is worth $100, then why wouldn't someone like even us, why wouldn't retail traders take the cheap Nvidia stock price? Do I think that Nvidia is going to go back up to 1,000 once it hits 100? I don't think so, unless it's just unless it's just like a complete monopoly with AI. All right, let's go look at volatility for a second here. Hey, volatility going up a little bit. Now, volatility on the 30-minute, we were paying attention to this, slight divergence on the RSI. So you don't necessarily have the divergence on the MACD. You do have it on the RSI. What does that tell me? This could be a pullback. So I want to pay attention to a 2-hour. The 2-hour divergence is very, very steep. Okay, so if this 2-hour can turn up, we might get some big volatility. Does VIX look bullish, or am I reading the chart wrong? As of right now, okay, this is how you have to think about it. I like anime. As of right now, it is bearish. If this 2-hour crosses, it has a chance to be bullish. If it goes past the center line, it is starting to be bullish. And if you see a strong move and it remains above the center line, then it is bullish. So what you would say as a trader from a, I would say a cost perspective on say volatility plays is volatility. If this crosses up, I can take a chance with it. Why? Because it's most likely going to be cheap. And then if that move happens, I can really benefit with that good price. So I would just want to pay attention to if that pops and then fades back down, like a 30-minute crossing back down, once we go positive, that's when you can get screwed. But if that 30-minute goes like this and then crosses, you could see a second move higher. So I hope that was helpful. I don't know if I explained that the best. Nvidia has the 10-to-1 split. Yeah, it should be a 10-to-1 split. So, I mean, Nvidia is obviously the best performing one based on the earnings. I'm not saying it's not. Yeah, Joe Jack's got you on that. It looks bullish. I mean, if you want to consider a contrarian would say this looks bullish. Do you think silver will do the same thing as gold? Most likely, yes, but sometimes silver either lags. Sometimes silver actually leads the move. Looks like it's lagging behind. Does it have the same daily signal as gold? Not necessarily. I was more bullish, I think, on silver. I thought it was undervalued, completely undervalued when I think it's Mark. Yeah, Mark, you were bringing it up all the time. And if you remember me saying, I was like, silver seems undervalued compared to what gold's doing, but it will react like gold. Will it hold up better? We'll have to see. But as of right now, that's a rapid move up. If I look across here, you just have a flat divergence and no divergence on the RSI, really, just a little bit up, actually. So this actually could just be a pullback, which is different look than gold. So maybe silver does hold up a little bit better than gold, because gold is showing you major divergence. Do you see the difference? That is pretty wild. So gold can really start to suffer here, but if it's going to fake you out, pay attention to a 2-hour. Pay attention to a 2-hour here, because this could just curl up and go positive. Maybe even a 1-hour looks pretty good. Yeah, even a 1-hour. If that starts to curl up, well, maybe this gets some kind of bounce for a little bit of time, and then you see that curl back down. Take a look at TLT. It is selling off for some reason. Yields heading higher. Let's see real quick. Okay, let's see if we can find... Oh, dang it, I clicked this thing. Hold on, I gotta wait 2 seconds. I accidentally clicked this thing on my computer. Now it's gonna tell me if my computer's hot. Which, it's sexy. Oh, it's hot. No, let me pull up the... Let's see if we can find some fundamental reasons why TLT would drop off. That being said, it could just be yields have to go higher. You might see some fundamental news come out that actually explains it. Well, as of right now, since Thursday, May 16th, you've been outside of the monthly expected move. We dropped back down in it. And notice that there is the difference between TLT and the market right now. I believe we pointed that out a little bit last week. Yeah, last Friday we pointed that out. Wait, I didn't go live on Friday, did I? Oh, shoot. We should have pointed this out. But TLT, unfortunately, I was moving when this happened. But TLT has a big difference between the SPY right now. So between the market, and that's what you have to pay attention to. Kind of smart money, dumb money. So TLT here, the monthly expected move sitting right about 9150, 9160 level. Okay, 9160. So we come outside of that, we drop back in. We come outside of that, we drop back in. And there's a difference right now, obviously, with TLT and the overall market. So that is really why we're probably, on the technical side seeing a drop off. It's getting too excited, and that tells me that the yields were going down too quickly, and the yields actually have to remain higher, which is exactly what they told you yesterday. I mean, in the FOMC minutes, they said, yeah, we're going to have to remain higher. Look at this. This is bad. This is bad. Something bad. Like XLU is telling you we're probably about to have some kind of meaningful pullback or even a crash. Maybe we don't even go make the divergence. So now, what do I believe? I believe they're going to tell you that inflation or something like that is, and this is very, very skeptical thinking here, but if we see some kind of really, really dramatic crash, I actually believe that's because of the short sellers and the manipulation in the market getting caught and over the next month. But they're probably just going to tell you it's because yields went up. But yields have been up forever and we've gone higher. So just yields going up, it actually, a lot of the time it's like yields have been held higher for longer. And this is why when someone says fundamentals, you need to pay attention to them. Well, let's see. Yields being up are bad for the market, right? Not really. We're above 500. We're getting closer to going to 550. I mean, you can't just buy into that. You have to pay attention to the signals. HYG breaking down. So this is your junk bonds, your high yield growth bonds, and those are really dropping down while the market does what? Heads higher. That's a signal to pay attention to. And obviously we can keep going back and forth to this, but if this closes by end of day with that red impression, make sure you pay attention to that. It has to close the day, right? The signal was if it has the red impression at the close. So it has to close with this, but this is a bigger pullback. I would say it is a crash signal, but in the first drop, it's a bigger pullback signal according to the last 3 times that this happened and we got a crash. Okay, and it has happened in the last 3 crashes. Okay, so if this wants to, the last 3 times though, it's seen a pullback, then it's gone back up to get a double top or gone a little bit higher and then seen a drop with some divergence. So we're going to be paying attention to all of this for you guys. And I'm going to start making my YouTube videos every single night. Apple still, woo, not looking pretty. Tesla, woo, not looking pretty. Nvidia, looking golden. Everyone, all retail traders, sell everything and get into Nvidia. It's the best, says the insider who just sold all of his Nvidia. All right, let me see what you guys are chatting about. I was looking at stuff. Oh. Ow, ow. My small dog keeps laying in my big dog's bed. Nvidia is God. Yo, I'm not going to lie. There's so much corruption in this market. I wouldn't even be surprised if Nvidia is not actually producing those types of numbers. Not going to say I'm not going to say oh, it's definitely happening, but I would not be surprised is the way to put it. There's no basis to cut rate. Look at Nvidia earnings. Exactly. Nvidia still crazy. Want to know the crazy part? China selling more and more and more of their dollar, their US dollar, in order to buy gold. I wonder if something very bad is coming around the corner. Interesting. So long as a real person like you is doing a video, AI is not great. Well, have you heard about the actors? Have you guys heard about what's happening with actors? So actors, they're paying for one job and then they can actually use AI to get their voice. They can use AI to get their face. They can use AI to get their movement. And then they don't need to even pay the actor anymore. They just need to buy their rights and then they're done. They don't even need the actor anymore. And what do they do about that? Well, they can have AI create the scene. They can have AI create the house. They can have AI create the script. So I think that this is going to be real scary. Uniworld, was that helpful with TLT? Uniworld, I want to make sure. Lucas, I'm here to talk about your car's extended warranty. F off, dude. Why the whole world need AI chips? Company, manufacturing, food, clothes. The reason that they're going to need AI chips is because the rich are getting richer, the more powerful is getting more powerful, and you are getting way less powerful and way less rich, and therefore they're probably going to try to stick a chip in your head, to be honest. They're probably going to try to stick one of those chips in your head, or put it in your food, and slowly have it build up in your system. Now, that is some conspiracy shit. I just want to say that. That is conspiracy shit. But couldn't you see it at this point? The craziness with COVID and things like that, how they were like, get injected, which, by the way, now they're seeing even more health complications with vaccinated persons, the more boosters you got. So just be careful with your health. And I don't disagree with anyone who got vaccinated. I'm just saying, whether you're vaccinated or not, you guys take care of your health. Okay, try to eat better. And the good part is fast food is really, really expensive. Okay, I know you think regular food is really expensive. Just, we switched to rice a long time ago when inflation was going up. Like I said, we make moves, even though we have a decent amount of, like, we're fine, right? We still make the moves that you should make when you should make them. So we're switching to rice a lot of the time. We're making a lot of potato, and with that potato, we make sure to eat a lot of meat, so we're not just all starchy and shit. But we make those types of moves. Yeah, that's why you don't follow these buy signals. These buy signals are not very good. So if you are getting a buy signal on, say, like a 2 hour maybe or something like that, now this buy signal, you would say, oh, that's a good buy signal, but it's just lucky. The 30-minute, you can get a buy signal, but that's because the gap up was late. Most likely, if this happened during regular trading hours, this buy signal would have popped up somewhere around like here. But technically, you should be in this move before that. So we don't teach these buy signals in the course. They're just fun to look at. I like them because they make me feel good. But other than that, it's not what you want to do. We talk about in the course, you need to have 3 to 5 reasons to take a trade. If you do not have those 3 to 5 reasons, and do not make them up, we will give you in the course the exact things that you should look for. Okay? So don't just make up reasons to take a trade, right? That's not good. What you want to do is select the important things for your trading strategy and then make sure those reasons are showing up in that trade. Higher and higher for Nvidia, now outside. As of this bar right here, we are outside of that weekly expected move. It seems like people are flowing out of things like AMD, SMCI. It seems like people are flowing out of a lot of the other stocks and going into Nvidia. I wonder if Bitcoin's suffering. Yeah, even Bitcoin. You might see retailers selling a lot of their Bitcoin in order to get back into Nvidia, and that is the wrong move at this point. You missed out on the move. If you really, when were we talking about buying Nvidia? It was down here before the squeeze. This right here was your pullback, and then, boom, we head to the upside. So this right here, 861 was the last time you should have bought Nvidia, and then you could have just held that thing the whole time. Gonna go all bacon diet. You might need to have a high water diet in there as well. I would never get another vaccine. Why buy now, since it would be cheaper after the split? Well, you still get the 10 to 1. I believe if you buy now, you still get the 10 to 1. There's usually a date with that. I'm pretty sure if you buy now, you still get the stock split. So even if you buy here, you'll still get a 10 to 1. But looks like everyone does think, Nvidia's God. Okay, so let's really look at this technically. If we are going to head higher, by the way, for Nvidia, let's not always just be like, hey, yeah, insiders are selling. Let's think of it technically as well. Well, where are we? We're well away from, and I think it's funny, there's no halts on Nvidia. Kind of crazy, huh? But there's halts on everything else when it goes up, but for some reason, Nvidia, no halts. So what's going to happen here? This 5 needs to catch up. So if this is going to continue to be bullish, we're probably going to move sideways or even take a little wick down to go test this 5-day coming back up. Okay, that's what you really want to look for if you want to get in on Nvidia. I would be very skeptical getting in on Nvidia when we are seeing XLU make that kind of signal. So still, I would be looking for this 30-minute pullback or something like that. really see the 30-minute get close to the center line, curl up, close to the center line, curl up. So the last time the 30-minute said get in was really right here. It flipped a negative here, so that was your fake out, and then that goes to the upside. So, but I called yesterday, and the coin called yesterday that, you know, Nvidia would head higher. The coin, remember, we coin flip for earnings. It is a 50-50 flip. You are pretty much betting black or red with earnings, and therefore we flip a coin. And the coin got it right so far, but I added to the coin and I said, I think if the coin's right, this is going to fade soon after. There can't be a rate cut. You just had a PPI reading of an uptick from 0.1 to 0.5. Look at those green bars on the MACD. Yeah, that's psycho, isn't it? That's crazy, isn't it? Look at the MACD all the way back. Like, you never see bars like this. Yeah, you never see bars like this on a 30-minute. That says, okay, over here you did. So just during the probably earnings reports and shit like that. That's crazy, John. Crazy stuff. All right, guys, I am going to take a 1-minute break. This is a great opportunity if you're thinking about taking the course. I'm going to leave that for $100, as I believe volatility is going to scale up very, very soon. If you can't afford the $100, there is a payment plan. It's $50 for 4 months, so you will pay a little extra over time. But $100, I'm going to see how long I want to make that last. But if people do see it as valuable and more people come in here wanting knowledge, I will leave it at $100. But as of right now, I could take it away at the end of the week. I just need to see what's going on. I had 6 people email me asking for some kind of sale anyway. So I'm going to do that. Let me go grab another cup of coffee and I'll be right back. By the way, I'm leaving my mouse on 138 for a... Wait, let me make sure that's right. Let me make sure that's right. Hold on, I'm going to leave my mouse on a specific area that's important. Okay, I'm going to leave it right on 138. Okay, right there. That level is very important. I'm going to go get my coffee. I'll be right back. Ah, damn. I was hoping that by the time I got back, Nvidia crossed back below that line. That would have been cool. That would have been cool. All right, I'm back. Can we please check the dollar? Yes, we can. Let's go check the dollar. So that is dropping off. But remember, this dramatically dropped off when we got that Nvidia earnings. Okay, so when that first drop-off happened, that was with Nvidia earnings going on into the morning. And you notice now, what are we seeing? We're seeing the dollar actually scale up pretty dramatically. Now, I don't like looking at the dollar on a 30-minute. I like looking at it on a 2-hour. Sorry. I like looking at it on a 2 hour. As of right now, we saw that 2 hour cross down, but we didn't break through the resistance here. So hold on. Oh my gosh, my goodness, my whole body. I'm like burping and hiccuping and sneezing and okay, so what are we seeing here? We didn't necessarily break through this resistance cleanly. And if anything, I would go over to a 4 hour and say this wasn't able to curl down and go negative, right? You see we curl down, we go negative. Okay, the dollar drops off. We see a big pop in the market. So as of right now, this is positive. So what do I have to pay attention to on the daily? I have to pay attention to, well, what do I have to pay attention to on the dollar? The daily at this point. Look at that wick. If we see the dollar start to scale up here, it's going to be sketch. Let's put it that way. It's going to be a little sketch. All right. Now, why would that be bad? Because you have a 4 hour that's positive territory. You have a daily that's been scaling up for a long time. Remember that the dollar is still at higher levels. Like, do not get it twisted. The dollar was moving up while the market was moving up, and this is a pullback. The dollar is still higher as the market is higher. So this is very, very sketchy behavior here, and something really bad is coming around the corner. Will that be signaled by XLU giving us that red impression? That's what I'm kind of wondering right now. So I'm paying attention to that signal. So if I'm paying attention to it, I would just highly suggest anything I say that I am doing, you at least think about or pay attention to yourself. Ricardo, thank you so much for buying that course. I am glad that you are looking into it. Make sure that you pop into the live videos, ask questions about it. If you have any questions as you do take it, you guys, I'm not one of those people that just want you to take a course and then be like, okay, we're done here. No, I really want you to be able to learn. I will be setting up one-on-ones if you have more individual stuff, or if there's a certain stock you really want to focus on, we can do multiple things in that one-on-one. But if you do take the course, I do want you to come by these live videos or even use the email that I give you in the course, because you can ask me questions and people can tell you. I don't just respond like one sentence. I give you good information, right? So someone asking for confirmations, better confirmations, which we're going to add a bunch of content as well. So if you have taken the course already, just be looking out, because this weekend I'm probably going to add at least one, and it'll be the how to not get screwed, or how you can get screwed, how to not get screwed out of a trade. And it's going to be called additional content at the bottom. Important additional content, because that content is additional, but it is very important stuff. And I think that as I've been talking about it more and more, that's something I want to add to the course. But yeah, the dollar scaling up here, if this crosses up on the MACD, we know this, we can still see the market go higher. That just means more insiders are selling. Okay. So if this heads higher while the market heads higher, that means the insiders know something that we don't. Volatility trying to scale up here. Did that 2 hour signal happen yet? No, it hasn't. So we can be patient. I'm waiting for this confirmation before I fully have scaled in. And I'm actually willing to scale into this 4 times. So I've scaled in once when we hit 12.12. Once when we got this cross up right here, this rejection, thought that had a chance to go positive. So twice there. And then third time was when I saw this rapid drop down on the 30-minute. I'm seeing if that crossed. Okay, that crossed. So I scaled in a third time. And then now I will be looking for an actual confirmation of this. Or actually, I'm going to... shit. Now I got to go look. I already scaled in 3 times. Someone remind me. My ADHD is kicking in. Once. Twice. I've only scaled in twice. Okay, so I've only scaled in twice. I'm waiting for this one to go in for my third one. Sorry about that. I got a little confused with my trade setup. I don't know why I'm talking softly. My baby girl's sleeping in the living room upstairs. One of the best scores. Shit, Lucas, can you please check the dollar? Okay, we got that for you, Mark. Can you check AMC? Yeah, we can check AMC. Remember, we posted exactly what you have to look for in order for this to head up, and you're seeing a lot of that happen. So back when we got this big pump, I mean, I know you guys have heard me say it a lot, but I know some people are new. When this happened, I actually went back and I stayed up for 4 hours straight, like every night last week, the beginning of last week, paying attention to this. What originally happened after a big pump was it actually curled up like this, which allowed this 30-minute MACD to just curl up in positive territory. The fact that we have broken down further, well, around that same point, I found a level for you to pay attention to. That was 437. 437 was the line in the sand. And what do? We actually reacted down to 437. So what do you need to happen in order for the momentum to tell you that AMC is bullish? Well, actually right now, the momentum is telling you it's bullish. So you need this to cross on the MACD. Now that did cross back down into negative territory. So over here, you need that to cross again on the MACD. Crossed. Now you need it to go above the center line here for a positive territory, for a positive trend move. Now it is in the ability to have a positive trend. That's step 2. Step 3 is, well, really you have to break through 739. I think 739 is very important. This little box up here is very important for AMC. So now there is resistance above you, and I'm saying, well, if you're really talking about resistance, you have to break through this high. Then you have to break through this level. Then you have to break through this level. Then you have to break through 739. I just have 739 marked off because that is, I believe, the most important resistance. You want Comcast? Let's look at Comcast for a sec. Ooh. Not the best of versions. Is this 2 hour and positive? Okay. So this here is going to be possibly an ABC move. So you want to react based on this. Okay, you want to react. And I know that's something crazy to say, right? Because you want to get in as early as possible. But if you want to get in earlier, you can go into a 30-minute or something like that and see that go positive, or see this cross up and say, I'm going to take a chance with it. But you have to pay attention to how you can get screwed. So if that 30-minute rolls right back down, you don't want to be taking upside because you're in negative territory. But I understand people want to get in earlier. If you really want confirmation this is going to head higher, you're going to see this 2 hour be able to cross on this MACD. And the cool part about when this crosses on the MACD is you're going to be in positive territory most likely when that cross happens. So that would tell you that the positive trend is going to continue. So this right now, little bit of a positive trend, right? So that can continue. Now, I would really pay attention to this level right here, these closings, because that looks like where we could set up some kind of head and shoulders. This looks a little bit like AMD the last time that we were looking at it, and this could be the setup. But note that AMD kind of just like went up to here and then gapped through it. That means it didn't need to go grab liquidity. So right here, if this crosses up on the MACD, it would be a bullish sign. Pay attention. If the shorter time frames just roll over in negative territory, though, you see the 15-minute by the center line. If that rolls over, there's no reason to take downside. The good part here is now you have a reason to take a trade. 15-minute divergence. We talk about this in the course pretty extensively. Reasons to take a trade. You have I mean, I can see 3 of them right away. I can see 3 of them right just by looking at this. So this would be the setup you would look for. Okay, that's confirming. Does that go positive? And then you'd want to be like, does the 30-minute go positive? And then you'd want to be like, is the 2 hour going positive? 2 hour being the most important one here. Best course ever. People, please take it without hesitation. Thank you so much for saying that, Mark. I really do appreciate it. I know that a lot of people have messaged me multiple times saying how much it has benefited them. I know that there's a lot of people who took the course and they were like, it completely changed their outlook on indicators. And a big thing about the course with the indicators alone, indicators is one of the first things you go over in the course, is a lot of people will just tell you the definition of the indicator. I tell you what actually matters, why it helps you take a trade, what you should look for. Palantir. Let's look at Palantir because that thing has been pretty popular lately. Yeah, I do dippies, so let me get one of my. I don't do Zin, but ooh, that's the shit. That's a wonky ass cup and handle. Okay, so. Cool part about Palantir was a long time ago, way up here when we had this head and shoulders that we talked about for Palantir, which by the way, it looks a little bit head and shoulders like right now, at least a liquidity grab type thing, right? We come up, we bounce up, we grab liquidity, we grab liquidity, we grab liquidity at the low. So what would we want to pay attention to here? If it loses 2029, that was the marking that we made way up here, right? We made this when we had the head and shoulders. We were like, this level here looks like the support that you do not want to lose. Now, why is this level important? Well, it's because that's where the gap open was. And so you see the wick below it. We don't want to drop below that. So we know this area is important. So this could either be a test to head higher, which means this 2 hour needs to curl up into positive territory. Okay, so the good part here is if you test 2029 and you see a bounce here, you will have divergence. You will have divergence that is pretty close to the center line and on the MACD and as of right now on the RSI at the same time. So you could get some kind of double bottom here. Now, this is in negative territory. This is not bullish yet. It's very important to understand. Some people are contrarian. Some people are contrarian and they will say, oh, this looks like a bullish setup. And that there is some legitimacy to that. But how you want to think about it is this is bearish until I see the contrarian signal, and then I can buy into that contrarian signal, but I have to make sure if I'm going to hold that trade for it to be bullish. This is where it becomes bullish. That's where it becomes bullish. Okay, so keep that in mind. 2029, very, very important level to pay attention to. You notice we almost touched it to the T down here, and what happened? We saw a rip up. So now you're getting some tapering. If we can hold this level down here in any way, and that turns back up, you might have some divergence there. Let's look at a 30-minute. See, 30-minute just pretty much pointing down and negative. So you can't say this is very positive. Now, 2-hour divergence is what we were looking for. So, okay, now you possibly have a daily divergence at the same time. If you can come touch these lows, that would convince me that, hey, Palantir actually might see a solid move if I get that 2-hour signal. And if XLU is wrong, XLU has to be wrong, because if XLU is not wrong, Palantir might actually head lower unless there's some kind of short sellers trying to keep this price down, which I don't think it is. So I think, yeah, this is a cautious time. So if you're going to take any trade setups, I would be hedging at least, because it looks like XLU is telling us some kind of drop is coming. I don't have a hedge position. I'm taking a volatility play. I'm not trying to trade any of these stocks right now. I think they're all going to be so rigged over the next week because of that CAT system coming out, and they're actually going to have to print stuff that they're just going to act very weird. So even stocks like Palantir could do that. We don't know how deep that problem goes and how much that CAT system will prove, if it actually proves anything, that is. You have to think the CAT system is made by the SEC also, by the way. So SEC really doesn't like to help out the average man. But I hope this was helpful with Palantir. I would really be looking for this 2-hour to confirm and go back to positive. If you want to be contrarian and this comes down a little lower and you see a divergence, you can take that play, but I would just make sure to pay attention to how you can get screwed. Pay attention to a 30-minute chart curling over into negative territory. That would tell you this is not going to happen. You need the 2-hour to go positive. That is when this becomes bullish. If you take a trade down here, this is you being a contrarian. This is you being in a bullish trend. They do. They do, John. I believe they do. If this overnight pump fade, could this be a major top? Yes. Yes, and this is why I said that yesterday when I was only live for a little bit, but I said the coin flip said that Nvidia was going to go up, and the numbers were really good. But why are the insiders selling so much? I have insider data that I showed you guys, the insider sentiment right now, actually, and it was all very, very negative on the Nvidia charts. That's an Nvidia sentiment. Okay, so that was in the dark pool data. So dark pool is actually apparently 50%. Oh, Willow, we'll look at it. Dark pool data is apparently like 50% of the market. So even though you're seeing these green bars, you're only getting 50% of the info here. There's a lot happening behind the scenes and a lot more money happening behind the scenes. And if short sellers get caught in something and derivatives get involved and they have to liquidate, that can be very bad for the market. And that happens tomorrow, I think. I think it's like tomorrow. And what are we seeing today? What are we seeing today? Well, XLU might be telling you that that's happening, right? If this impression happens, I'm going to say we could get a stock market crash. We could. But history would tell me in the last 3 times I saw this signal, because I've done my research, this actually pulled down, the market pulled down, and then we went up and the market went higher, and XLU made a divergence or a double top. So this is the moment where I'll say, okay, a crash is happening. And I will say that very definitively. And I will say that outright on this channel, and I do not fucking care if anyone calls me out for it. All right, DJT. I looked at the short interest for this. It was 95% at one point, and then that magically flipped, and now it's only like 20% or 15%. So I think DJT is being suppressed, actually. I think DJT is being suppressed. Now, I have to take that with a grain of salt. I haven't done as much research on this, but what would you say as of right now to the technicals? This is bearish on the 2 hour. It is bearish on the 2 hour. You're getting some movement sideways, so you can see another drop. The 2 hour is in negative territory. You need that to flip to positive. And it really is that simple. I know people think the market is really complicated. Really, it's not that complicated. It's complicated in the fact that you have to be paying attention to the signals and the correct signals all the time. Trading is a full-time job. Investing is not a full-time job. You can turn trading into not a full-time job by doing daily charts and things like that, but you still probably want to pay attention to a 2 hour. You still might have to look at charts every other day. So trading is a full-time job because you want to pay attention to a good buy. What's a good buy? Then you want to pay attention to how I can get screwed. Okay, how am I going to get screwed? Am I not getting screwed? Okay, let me pay attention to my next confirmation for a higher level. Okay, awesome. Now I can pay attention to a higher level of how I could get screwed. Now their earnings, their revenue is shit, right? But this makes sense. What I would look for here for DJT is I would look for a 30-minute divergence. That's how I would do it. I would create my range. We teach you how to make those ranges in a very simple way because sometimes people mess up the calculation. I messed up the calculation when I first calculated these ranges. It took me like 4 months to really figure out and back test and be like, how could it, how can I make these ranges as powerful as possible? And now I'm good at it. That's why I give that away on Patreon. I'm very confident in those ranges. Okay, so but I do give you a way to make those ranges using Robinhood or any platform with the implied volatility and an expiration date. You can do it, right? It's very simple, and that's why I give it away, with the $100 course right now. The only thing with that range is it's going to be a little less accurate. My range might be up here. Your range might be down here. My downside range might be down here. Yours might be right here. But overall, if you're seeing the signal outside of that range, even using Robinhood, Webull, any platform that you use, as long as you're using the correct time, you don't want to do it during market hours and things like that. That's very important. But we do teach you how to do that. They're good ranges. I've used them before. They're just not the most accurate. I like the most accurate. So as of right now, what would I pay attention to? Well, this is getting towards the center line, and we're in a negative trend as of right now. Negative trend. What does that mean? We cross down right here. So right here, this would tell you do not take any more upside. Right here, you could be like, okay, I'm going to swing trade this to the downside. Boom. Good payday. Great payday. A 10% drop in, what is that, 2 hours maybe? 10% drop in 2 hours, you make some good money, okay? So right now, you can do that again. Look at that. Okay, this crosses on this MACD. You're in negative territory again, so what do? You're going to test the low or go make a new one. And because that last sell-off was dramatic, I don't think it'll be as dramatic, but you could end up towards maybe like 40, 41, something like this, and then you see tapering, which also might give you a divergence like this. What if you get something like that? And it's on the RSI at the same time. We talk about that in the course too, but overall, it's just this is the type of stuff you want to pay attention to. Now, if that's not going to happen, the 30-minute goes positive, then you just want to switch. You want to go, okay, 2 hour. Is that able to go positive? If you want to take a chance on it, be a little contrarian, you can get in early. You just really want to make sure that's going positive. SoFi's falling. Oh, SoFi. Oh, SoFi. Is everyone just banking on... I think everyone's just getting in on Nvidia, and I think that's going to be ripped away very, very quickly. Oh, no, SoFi. Now, I don't know if this one's suppressed. Like I said, any chart that I look at now, I'm like, is this being, any low number I see, I'm like, is this being suppressed by short sellers? I can't tell. I really can't tell. But all I can tell is this went negative. You notice once it goes negative, you see this bar right here. This is when it started to go negative. Boom, big bar down. Now we're going down dramatically in negative territory. More dramatic moves do happen once you get further into negative territory. So right when you see that cross in, we start to see, yeah, we go sideways and then big drop, okay? So what would I be paying attention to here? I want to look at it on the daily scale. Okay, daily divergence is what I'd really like to see, but this could also be some form of head and shoulders. Okay, this could be some form, you're kind of in a range. So if I just make a range like this, and I say this was a fake out, I know it's not the best drawing because I'm just drawing it with my hand and I'm terrible at it. I have shaky hands, that's why I can't be a surgeon. Do not ask me to play Operation with you. I will lose every time. But daily, this is turning down on a MACD. One of my rules is I do not take a call on a stock that turns down on a daily MACD. I do not want that daily momentum to magically start to ramp up, right? So bigger time frames, that momentum is stronger than the shorter time frames no matter what. Okay? So this does have the opportunity to just go like this. It does have the opportunity to just fall down. XLU is showing us maybe some kind of crash is coming. Okay, so what do I want to pay attention to? Well, if that does happen, does that turn back around and do I get another daily divergence, a small one, triple divergence across the way, triple divergence on the RSI at the same time? That would be your signal. Hey, I'm going to go long here. That's what I would do. I would pay attention to a daily, pay attention to a 2 hour, see if the 2 hour is able to flip positive. Even if actually the best thing for the 2 hour would just be to flip positive right now, and then that daily is able to turn back up. Looks like Nvidia topped. SMCI getting crushed. I think people are flowing out of Nvidia back in, or out of other AI stocks and back into Nvidia, and now they're going to see that ripped away. And I genuinely believe that. Now you're back within the weekly range. Remember, I had my mouse when I went to get a refill on coffee at 138. That's where the weekly range is, and weirdly enough, we're fading below it. Now, if we start to see people really pile on the shorts here, that would be bad. But according to 50X, his sentiment was, I'm pissed off, I'm just going to go long. That's exactly the time where they will start to sell off the stock. Jonathan asked about PHM a long time ago. I really want to look at that for him. Jonathan, I hope you're still here. I'm sorry, I might have been away from my computer. I just didn't see it. You got 2 hour divergence here. Okay, 2 hour divergence. This was your signal to get in. Let's see right here. If you wanted to be the contrarian to the downside. And guess what? You want to pay attention to how you can get screwed. So in that turn up, was it able to cross up on the MACD? Yes, it was. So you're out of the play, right? This tells me I'm out of the play just because I don't want to get screwed. This is what a video I'm going to make and put on the course. This is what you pay attention to. You take the 2 hour play. Okay, now I have to pay attention to a 30-minute and see if that crosses back up and goes positive. Okay, that crossed up. So I'm going to say, uh-oh, this is positive. This could go test the high. This could go make a new one. But since that did fade right when this bar happens, I go, oh, now I can go short again. Now I can go short again. That's how I do things. I go, now I can go short again. That's a confirmation of that 2 hour play. And then what happens right after that? This is all just building up liquidity. And then we see that drop. So is the daily curling over? Yes, it did yesterday. That was your signal that this is confirmed and you can hold it for a little bit. Pay attention. You're already at the 50. You could go test bottom Bollinger, but this is a direction for downside, and you do have big divergence up in this area on a daily scale, across the board. Okay, you have triple divergence across the board here. This is saying big weakness for PHM. Thank you so much, Gambler6464, for joining our live stream. Thank you for joining the channel. Really do appreciate it. Jonathan, I hope that was very, very helpful, and you saw that. That is awesome. See, this is what I want to happen, guys. This is not a channel that I want to give you things all the time. I'm not going to be able to stream all the time. I had to move. And so you have to see these signals, and I would like you to learn these things so you can come in and be like, am I seeing things correctly? I think that is perfectly fine. What would I do with PHM right now? I think it's got a good chance to come and test this level right here. You see that level right there? I think you got a good chance to go test 107. Sure, it could take some time to get there, and that's why we take out at least 2 week to 2 month out plays. You will make plenty of money. You do not need to make money the fast way. Actually, you do need to make money the fast way. And do you know what the fast way is? It's the slow way. I've been doing it for a long time, and look at me. I'm doing just fine, and look how much I've learned. I've learned more and more and more by doing things the slow way. I still have bad months. Everyone has bad months. Everyone has a trade that doesn't go their way. And it's perfectly fine. As long as you learn from those mistakes, you know when to get out and you're not over leveraging or something like that. Oil, we can go look at oil real quick. Baby girl's crying. She just woke up from her nap. Oil looks like you got daily divergence down here first off. You have a daily divergence on the MACD and RSI. So if this starts to turn up, we could see oil go ballistic. Now I am using US oil, so I'm going to go into a 4 hour. And you'll see what? A divergence across the way here. Not the best divergence in the world, but if this starts to cross, you could be a contrarian first, right? Take the trade as a contrarian. That's what I would do. And then if that goes positive, I'm pretty convinced. I say, okay, cool. This is going positive. So what do I want to pay attention to then? Is the daily crossing over? If the daily crosses over, then I say, okay, now I'm still a contrarian. I'm just looking at a daily chart. Maybe I pay attention to a 4 hour or something like that. and we could do USO and see if it's a little different. Maybe we'll do that next. But oil here, US oil, if this curled up, I would want to see this daily getting into positive territory. I think you have a good shot for oil to get back to 84.72. That was my target in the past. You notice when we lose it, we have all these wicks here. When we lose it, it's pretty dramatic to the downside. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for the super chat. Really do appreciate it. I just hope that that information was helpful. Scar King, what up? I've been watching Full Metal Alchemist, and one of the characters is Scar. We're getting to the end of it, and I'm loving it. It's pretty fun. Let's look if USO oil looks any different. Actually, USO giving you a very, very similar thing here. 2-hour divergence, very steep down here at the lows. So if you were a contrarian, you would say, hey, if this crosses up, then it could go into a positive trend. And then if that does go into a positive trend, you would say, okay, now it is bullish. And then if it breaks through resistance, you're good to go. And you just want to pay attention. Is the daily able to go positive? That's when you know I can stay in this move. That's why we take month out plays, okay? And then you could say if it's a rapid move, right? Rapid move on, say, like a 30-minute or something like that. Big rapid move, okay. Now I can be like, I'm going to take some off the table, leave a few runners, and then if that pulls back, I can swing trade it to the upside. Ooh, simulated my returns before the open. Hold on. So I bought a 11:30 call for Nvidia when it was 942, shoot to 1045. My contract at open lost money. The calls got too expensive. The premiums on them got expensive. That sucks, Miles. That is awful. I do not see that a lot. What are my thoughts on Nvidia? My thoughts are still the same. I think it is going to fade. But you're seeing a lot of inflows into Nvidia. Insiders are selling it, Scar King. So I could pull up that data again if you'd like, but pretty much you'll just see a bunch of red bars from insiders' sentiment saying down, 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 down dramatically. It doesn't mean that it's not bullish in the near term. It had good earnings, makes sense. But as of right now, I think they're baiting everyone to sell other stocks to get into Nvidia. I think people are starting to be like, I've tried to short this too many times that I'm just going to take calls. And that's exactly what they want to happen before something could go down. JC, what news is causing this drop? I don't know. And I'm going to be totally honest. I don't care. We pay attention to signals at XLU. What signal is causing this drop? Well, what signal was telling us about this drop at least? I don't know about causing it, but XLU dropping down, crossing on the daily MACD. This happened before the fade started to happen. That's why we were pretty confident it's going to fade. Now Nvidia can see a couple days of upside. I think it's not going to last at all. I don't think that's going to last. I think people are going to start to take profit. I think all your insiders are getting out of Nvidia, at least at some kind of scale. And what is causing this? Well, it's most likely the fact that calls are still at a level that is pretty... Puts are cheaper. Puts are cheaper, and the algorithm that the market makers have created is going to say puts are cheaper, so I'm going to buy puts. That's what the algorithms are saying as of right now. Let's go look at Apple. Remember, this was a good taking of... if you were just taking this for a shorter play, now you can see some bouncing, okay? So all you need is a 2% move in order to double your contract value, and people will be excited and buy into that. So this is exactly what it is. What's the daily expected move? I actually didn't have time to make them, DD, and I'm so sorry about that. I'm going to make them in the future for sure. Going on into tomorrow and tonight's YouTube video, I will be making them, but I just didn't have time. I had to... So the people who delivered my couch, they delivered it for free. They did it within like 2 days. That's amazing. But I had to put it together myself. It's very, very nice. I got like my first ever leather couch. Nvidia is worth more than Nvidia is worth more than the whole Canadian economy right now. The whole Canadian GDP or whatever. That's psycho talk. And that's right when you could see this stuff ripped away. Tesla, oh my God, Tesla, what are you doing, dude? There's your line in the sand for Tesla. Cross down on the 2 hour. Downside is likely. Now, because those shorter time frames are a little bit wonky, a little bit oversold, you could see this drift like this and then curl back up. So you want to pay attention to 2 hour, how you can get screwed on this. Well, 30-minute curls up and goes positive. Congrats on the leather couch. Yeah, it was not what I expected to get, but I really enjoy it. I used to work at a furniture store, so I know what good furniture is, which is nice, but options expiring tomorrow, the drop may be why, and that could be it. People are going to take profit at this level. We pulled up the maximum pain and we showed you that Nvidia's maximum pain, well, the big amount of calls is above 1,000. What did we say for a long time? We've said this for like a month. Nvidia's going to get over 1,000 and then it's going to sell off as people take profit. I think people will take profit above this level, especially going on into tomorrow. Easy money with rate cuts around the corner. They're not going to be around the corner. They have to still hold higher for longer. If they cut rates right now, we are going to see inflation come back very dramatically. How do I know that? Well, because everything is still expensive. Everything that matters is still expensive, and they don't care about that. And also, what are we seeing? U.S. oil is starting to scale back up, so oil's about to get expensive. Biden thinks that he saved oil prices because he took 1 million barrels out of the reserve. That is maybe going to save you, I don't know, 5 cents for maybe a week, and then that's going to go right back up. That's going to go right back up because those reserves are not for, it's just because it's an election year and he's trying to buy some votes. It genuinely is. Oil going down or taking oil out of our reserves is actually very stupid because that reserve is not for this purpose. It is, I believe it's for the purpose of in case we have some kind of war, in case there is some reason we actually need oil for safety. Grayscale Ethereum Trust is up 40% in a week. Thought it was about stocks. Guess not if it's crypto related. Thought, what? I don't know what you're talking about, JS. I don't pay attention to Grayscale Ethereum. I'm not saying crypto is a bad play. I actually think crypto is probably a better play than stocks for sure right now. Now Bitcoin dropping off, yeah, that's maybe something to pay attention to. But 4 hour, what if this just curls right back up? We had a target for Bitcoin up towards, I think it was 85, 84 maybe. I think it was 84. So as of right now, that's still where I would think this gets to. But just note that Bitcoin and crypto can drop off dramatically if something sketchy happens. If XLU drops off, Bitcoin might still follow. Sorry if I didn't get to your comment, JS. I'm doing a lot. I'm rusty. I haven't done this in a few days. I'm not you guys, if you ever feel ignored by me, I'm not ignoring anything. Do you guys see how much I'm talking and how much I'm getting to and how much stuff I'm looking at? I'm never ignoring you, trust me. Even if I'm ignoring someone, I'll probably tell you why I'm ignoring you. Ethereum is moving independent from Bitcoin. Hey, it is positive right now. You got a 2 hour divergence though. Looks like Ethereum's going to drop off. If the 2 hour can go negative, let's look at it on a daily scale. Daily scale is bullish. I'd just look for a pullback here. This looks like an area where we might have got a little excited. I would like to see cup and handle in here, get a little head and shoulders going. Right, left, head. Maybe we create that right shoulder. I think we just got a little too excited here. But I would say this, crypto still does crash. In a crash, we still see crypto suffer, unless we see a difference here. He's not ignoring us. He's just enjoying the view of his new leather couch. That's right. I went upstairs and I got to look at my leather couch and I got excited. You're welcome, JS. I think you got a good shot for a pullback here. But if something that you're paying attention to is going to happen, then crypto can remain bullish. Like if we're going to see, I think actually if you see the short seller thing happen, then people will distrust the dollar, they will distrust stocks, and they might actually see a huge inflow into crypto. But if that actually, there's a flip to that. If short sellers need liquidity, they might sell their crypto in order to get that, and they are much bigger players. So yeah, we just still need to pay attention to the signals. I think if the 4-hour can turn back up, right, if this can see a pullback, I'd really like that, and then hopefully not drop too dramatically. I think it maybe heads to, what, 3,400 maybe? Maybe down towards these lows. 3,300 maybe. 3,300 would be solid. Just grab liquidity real quick. Go up. Yeah, the crypto bill passed an hour ago, but you're seeing bad signals. So this will be a, sell the fact. Buy the rumor, sell the news, buy the rumor, sell the fact. And then if that's going to hold up, that'd be great. So if that's an actual good thing for crypto, which you know more about that than I do, if it's a good thing for crypto, I haven't looked into it too much, but I'm just going to pay attention to a signal here. 4-hour turns down, turns back up. That would be a good signal. There, that's what I would say. Dollar is able to go positive here. Is the VIX confirming this move so I can scale in one last time? Yes, I'm going to wait for that confirmation. It's only 5 minutes into the bar. What's the indicator that you use? XLVU, SLVU? I don't really use those too often. So I more so just pay attention to XLU if that's what you're talking about. But like XLVU, I don't think that's what I would pay attention to too much. I don't even really see a chart for that. I don't think I've ever really seen that. So maybe it's something that I just haven't paid attention to. Hey, John Steeper, thank you so much for taking the course. Remember to message me, join the live videos, ask questions about the course if you have any questions while you take it. The dollar trying to go positive here daily. That crosses up. That is not a good sign. Volatility not crossed up. VVIX? Ooh, VVIX crossed up a while ago. Remember, VVIX can pop before volatility. So VVIX is climbing. Volatility hasn't followed just yet. It looks like that might be right around the corner. Holy crap, I gotta put on a sweatshirt. Good thing I don't have my camera on. You guys would see me with my shirt off for a sec. I'm just gonna take this. I have a tank top on. I'm gonna go to the gym in a little bit. That's right, I moved and I'm closer to my gym. I used to be 20 minutes away from my gym. Now I'm 2 minutes away from my gym. Imagine how excited I am. My shoulders, I can actually work on my rehab and get my shoulders back to good. Ah, sweatshirt. I'm one of those guys, I don't like to wear a sweatshirt over another shirt. Yes, it will correct. Then the SEC speaks on it today. It will jump to 6,000 by tomorrow. That is a bold claim. Saying Ethereum's going to go from where it's at now to 6,000. Hey, I'm down for it. Crypto moves like crazy. I'm down for it. Ooh, DJT, not looking pretty, dude. Not looking pretty. You got some divergences up here as well. So up here, we talked about those divergences. That actually went negative. We were right on that. We gave the double top. We were right on that. Then we say this bottoms, curls up. You got a little almost divergence here. Just a little bit higher low, goes up. Now it curls back down. That's what Berkshire said. How much do they have in it? Have they been periodically buying? Makes sense. It has to pull back before moving high. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, you're welcome, Scar King. I hope that was helpful. Even if we don't agree on some political points, you are a very genuine guy. Don't worry, brother. Everyone knows you're not ignoring nobody. Yeah, Adam, and I appreciate the fact that you said, like, even though we don't agree politically, like, we can all still talk about stocks, and I think that's great to say. And I don't expect myself to be even right on everything politically, just like I'm not right on everything with charts. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for joining. Remember, arguments about everything is what makes everyone progress forward. All the big guys are buying. Buffett said he wouldn't invest in cryptos. Did something change? That might be what JS can answer. Does courses go over the weekly and monthly moves? Yes, it describes them in depth. It describes exactly what they are and why they are useful. So why they are useful to you is very important. And we go into it very thoroughly, and then we give you trading strategies around them. Yes, leadership has changed. There you go, Willow. Lurkin Luke is in here somewhere. He's always lurking. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and give, right now, because I got to go help with baby girl, I'm going to do our little breakdown. I'm going to put the most important thing right here. The SPY has not crossed on this MACD. XLU has. XLU has. If this prints by the end of the day with this crossing of the MACD, that tells you there is weakness in this area. Okay, so this is going to be our 15-minute breakdown. XLU is showing you that crash signal. This is what we've paid attention to for the last few weeks. And so I'm glad that I was able to set up enough to go live so I could inform you about it. This is why I hurried up and got some kind of setup going so I could talk with you guys about this. The daily scale crossing down. Make sure that confirms, first of all, what could happen. That could lead to the SPY confirming a downside move as well. Now, just remember, the last time XLU did this, it's still, the last 3 times it did this in the market, and XLU made the same pattern, okay? Now, these patterns can be different, but we could see some kind of small divergence. This could take some time to play out, but it looks like we're nearing a top. We called for a top in May. We just might get it if XLU does not go make that divergence. And yeah, Tim, keep asking questions about the course if you have any questions. But it is 50% off. It's $100. It's literally $100 for, I got to see how long I want to do it. So if people are really interested in it, and it seems like a couple are right away. If people are really interested in it, I think it would be very good to keep for a little bit, but I still have to play with it and see what I'm going to do. So the SPY here on the daily scale, you just want to be worried because this could be another point of divergence across the way. These were very wonky. This was very squeezed behavior. Insider selling in this overall move that pulled back. Insiders are still selling in this move, right? We'll go over the dollar in a moment, but this is the big thing you want to pay attention to, XLU and the SPY. As of right now, the 2-hour is beating down towards that center line, so it is fading as of right now, and we do have XLU giving you that signal, but what if it just makes another move up? You always want to pay attention to how you can get screwed. Even if XLU, maybe there's a divergence between the two. Maybe they kind of move in different directions, kind of like what we're doing in the market with HYG. HYG is heading down from this point. TLT is heading down from this point, little pop, and then headed down again as of right now, and the SPY heading to higher levels. So not the best look for stocks. It looks like some kind of big move down is coming. The Qs here, what are they reaching? Well, weekly expected move. You don't think these things are important? Well, the weekly expected move is right there. What do? We hit it. We start to fade. Now, I'm not going to say that's the magical line that means we're going to crash. I still need something to confirm here. I need this 30-minute to cross down. That's going to be a good signal that we're going to see some major weakness. And while we're talking about the Qs, let's go look at that put call ratio. Still at 0.82, so still leaning a little bit towards the call side. If they really want to rip a lot of money away from people, they might actually go up again for a little bit, and maybe we can look for a shorter time frame divergence for a double top or some kind of divergence up in this area. But 30-minute divergence here right by the center line. If we cross down, hey, I'm a contrarian at that point because I say, hey, I'm a contrarian if I get in early. But once that goes negative, I can say, okay, now this is in a negative trend and the direction is down from here. Always paying attention to how I can get screwed. Now the IWM dropping off dramatically. 2 hours going to be pretty close to the center line. So we have to see if there's some kind of bounce from here for IWM, just pointing that out. But we did get up towards that weekly expected move. I thought, hey, maybe this actually makes another push higher and then starts to fade. Also, these are not correct. I do not have those for today. I will get those for you guys tonight in tonight's YouTube video. As of right now, what did you have up in this area? You had 2-hour divergence. That can roll over the daily. So what's the daily doing? Looking like it wants to cross down. So if we're going to see another push lower, we're going to need to have some confirmation of that to hold on to a short position. That's what I would do. And boom, we see that confirmed down. Now, this is still a contrarian. You're still in positive territory. So you're being a contrarian if you're bearish here because this is in a bullish context still in this bullish trend. So this would mean my signals are starting to flip bearish. This would mean the signals are bearish once we actually cross this center line, all right? Dow Jones, let's just peek at that. Dramatic downside. Remember, this was falling while the market was going up. So up in this area, we have the chance for some big divergences on the MACD and RSI on the daily scale. So a lot of things pointing down. XLU, as of right now, looking like it is getting it a little bit right. I'll look at ANF at the end laws. Just remind me as I get past Meta. Okay, so we're going to go into Apple. Apple was the one that I was like, hey, some kind of drop. Looks like some kind of significant drop, meaning maybe 2%. We mentioned 2% yesterday. And guess what? We got a 2% drop. So from the position taken, let's see if that got to 2%. Okay, taken here. So this here was, so close to 2%. 1.99. 1.99. Damn it. So close. So freaking close. But that's good. This is a good sign. Now you want to pay attention to how you can get screwed. There's going to be bounces. This is very oversold. So if this bounce is brief, we could see that just curl right back down into negative territory. But we can pay attention to a 2 hour. That's already curled over as well. If that curls up, very, very bullish still. Maybe we get a full retest, right? We're always paying attention to both sides. But since that 2 hours crossed over, we just need to see this daily cross down and we can say, okay, then I'm confident in that move. So maybe we build up and then cross down on a 30-minute, and then that's where you reposition yourself. You see this cross down, and that's the moment for Apple. But we're back in the sell-off zone. Excuse me. Tesla, this one here, really pay attention to the daily curling down as well. We're starting to see a bounce. That's exactly where we want to see a bounce. And the 30-minute is still really close to positive territory. So don't think that Tesla has to crash down right now just because of XLU. You still have to see the right signals in the stock that you are trading. At the same time, you pay attention to XLU, right? So what are we seeing here? 30-minute is by positive territory. So yes, this is negative trend right now. It's still bearish, but if this just curls up, you notice how quickly it can flip. So this would be if you were taking some kind of short at the high here, if you got lucky with that, because I don't necessarily see the best trade setup, but this dropped down, went negative. Now you can get some kind of bounce. Maybe we go up to 180.92. I would really look at a 15-minute. I think a 15-minute, if this just curls up, goes positive briefly, you can chill for a sec, and if you're going to see more downside, that's just going to curl back down. And I think that once you break through this, it'll be a little more dramatic. Amazon, this one, hey, trying to create a higher low on the 15-minute here. The 2 hour is still what I'd pay attention to. If that can actually go positive, that would mean a positive move is coming. You're a little bit deeper into negative territory, so you really have to see that go positive to hang on to that move. So if I was paying attention to this, how I could get screwed, 30-minute goes negative. Right now, flipping back to positive. So this means upside is likely, but not bullish yet. Okay, this has to get into positive territory for that be bullish. I think Apple could fall lower than this, but right now you're going to see most likely a bounce, and I'd pay attention to a 15-minute crossing up, getting close to the center line. Nvidia. Oh, and Amazon, real quick on Amazon, the daily was giving us hints of this, and this could be a handle to head higher, but this is a pretty good divergence. So even if we get some kind of bounce, that might just give you a lower high, and then you see that ripped away. So pay attention to any kind of bounces that then lead to it crossing back down into negative territory, kind of like a swing trader, which we might put a swing trade course out once. If volatility starts to subside again, we might make a little like swing trade course. Swing trading is pretty simple. And you can pay attention to everything you learned in the course thus far and then add that to it. I think that would be very good. Nvidia here going up to higher levels. Okay, it seems like a lot of people are selling out of things like AMD, selling out of things like SMCI, selling out of maybe even some crypto to get into Nvidia. We know that the sentiment here from the people that have come into the stream, not to call you out, but is I'm so sick of this. I keep trying to short it. It keeps going up. Fuck it. I'm buying calls. That is exactly what the market maker algorithms want you to do, is get to a point where you're sick of it, you're going to buy calls, and right when you do, maybe enough people do, that this starts to become puts are very cheap. Insiders are selling Nvidia as of right now. We pulled up that data at the beginning of this video. Actually, let's go into shorter time frames. It's just going to be tough because you just had a huge push with the earnings. So shorter time frame is going to be a little rough. If you're thinking Nvidia actually wants to go higher, I would really wait for the 30 minutes to at least curl down, get close to the center line, because most likely calls are going to be very expensive here. You want to see some kind of drop and then see that come back up. That would mean like, hey, yeah, this has a swing trade pretty much to go back up to the upside. So wait for that MACD to kind of beat down and then curl back up. AMD, it's a dramatic drop. It went and retested. Look at that, 160.83. We said 160.83 was important. What did we do back here in the past? Okay, we marked off 160.83 a long time ago. And this is where, what did we do? We gap above it. Notice the gap goes perfectly above it. That means that that level is important. We can confirm that level is important. We get in a range. We get the fake out. Now it seems like people might be getting in on Nvidia. Now let's see. Maybe AMD, or maybe just people tried to take a bunch of calls on AMD and the algorithms kicked in and said, no, you guys think that AMD has to make a move higher because Nvidia moved higher, and now puts are very cheap and the algorithms push that down, kind of screwing over the retail trader. That's most likely actually what happened here. Now when they give up, then it says, oh, now calls are cheap again, and boom, this could curl up and go positive. That's what you need to see for this to get back to positive territory, right? For this to make an upward move. So AMD not looking the best, and even if you pull up the daily scale here, you're right by negative territory. So AMD can suffer, but you want to pay attention to a bunch of time frames here. AMD just not looking like the best thing to trade right now. Coming up into a good resistance point, though. Coming up into a good resistance point with this wicking up here. Very good. We'll have to see if that curls back up into positive territory on a 30-minute. Now, Meta, this thing is moving sideways. We could get another push up. This is a daily chart. I still think it has the opportunity to test 453, but doesn't matter what I think. I got to pay attention to the signals. And right now, 2 hour, close to the center line, positive territory right above you. Maybe XLU is going to diverge from the market at this point. We're going to see Meta and other stocks make some kind of ABC move up to the upside. So we'll pay attention to this. Watch out. You got a gap up here. So gap resistance can come into play. Maybe we see an actual 2 hour divergence across the way. Multiple point would be interesting here. So we'll pay attention to it. But Meta showing you that 2 hour divergence pretty early on here. 1 bar right here. Okay, enter the play. And now how low did that end up going? This is the trade that I was taking, but I didn't scale in correctly. 2.3%. Probably good enough for a double right there. Probably good enough for a double. That's what you'll learn in the course, which is $100. Now, Microsoft, this thing hasn't really seen a good sell-off. Yeah, we've come back a few times by about 1%, 1 or 2%. Let's see what this pullback was. Yeah, 1 or 2%. It just looks like it's building up to something very pump and dump looking. I don't know. Something that could be telling you momentum is fading out. What do we need to see? We need a 30-minute to get close to the center line. There is still room to the upside here for that weekly range, I believe. So maybe we want one more push higher. All the retailers buy calls, and then the algorithms realize calls are expensive and it drops that. So that's something that could happen very soon. Just remember, always keep in the back of your mind, XLU, if you're really being a good trader, you might just say, hey, I could get out of everything and see some kind of significant drop. And then if there is another push higher, we could just get into that move and swing trade it again on a 2 hour. That's really what I would look at, because if you look at this on a 2 hour, you just say this is up here in no man's land. You have some slight divergence at these highs now. So if I wanted to be bullish, I'd like that to go grab liquidity, maybe do some kind of cup and handling. But as of right now, you're getting too excited to the upside. So an XLU is giving you that signal. We could be experiencing some kind of drop here. Google, you got 2 hour 2 hour divergence up here, and the daily looks like it might want to cross over. It crossed through the trend line here, so that's very cool. We marked that off. That looks nice, but this can start to reverse the trend if it gets close to that center line. If it crosses this center line, hasn't done it yet. So this would be like contrarian until it actually tells me it's bearish, and then I can hold on to that position. Okay, so look at it at a 30-minute. Where are we? We're right by that center line. So if you see another curl up, that might not be the moment. All right, this might not be the moment, but you can see on the daily scale, this thing just ripping and ripping and ripping. Now you're getting pretty flat on this RSI. It looks like some kind of bigger pullback or even crash is coming for Google, and we'll pay attention to that. Netflix as well. Netflix showing some steep divergence here. So if we see weakness, this is a great retest. You see the retest of the trend. Okay, now we drop off. We got to break through 543.31. That's a very important level, but this looks like a key thing to pay attention to. And I can tell you right now, the sentiment with Netflix because of inflation, they're selling a lot of Netflix as of right now. Laws, what did you want to look at? I'll look at it for you real quick. Just put it up there as I look at volatility to show you guys. The daily could cross up here. It's not very close to the center line, but the 2 hour is not crossed anymore. So I'm not fully scaled in at this point. I'm ready to scale in for my third time here. If this can just cross up, I'm going to be a contrarian and say, yes, volatility is in a negative trend, but it has the opportunity to flip to positive. So is volatility bullish yet? Is volatility saying I'm going to go into a positive trend? Not necessarily. I want to see a confirming bar, close that bar, and then fully scale into that position. And then if that goes positive, I can say, okay, now I know the 2 hours in a positive trend, and I can look at a higher time frame too and say, is the daily crossing up, and go from there. So I'll always be paying attention to how I can get screwed. So if this 30-minute just rolls over into negative territory, no reason for me to take upside when it comes to volatility. The dollar scaling up and up and up and up and up. And that just tells us what? We still have insiders that are not believing in this move. They're selling into this move. They've been selling into it ever since December. They've been selling into this move. We got another pullback. We went into the trend. We were mentioning this box. Now we're pulling back up. If the dollar starts to scale up dramatically, well, can the market still go up? Yes. But that would tell you the insiders are selling. Once you break through this 106.493, it's not going to be good news for the market, in my opinion. Another thing just to pay attention to, HYG did not believe in this move. SPY doing this, HYG doing this. So HYG giving you a little hint there, but still the most important thing to pay attention to, XLU. XLU still want to see this actually confirmed by end of day. Right, where is ANF? Okay, we'll look at ANF. Tropic Thunder, hell yeah. Dude, Tropic Thunder was a class. That is so funny. Oh my gosh. Abercrombie? Abercrombie still exists? What the? Okay, so this is coming down to lower levels, right? And then we see that big push upward. We see the squeeze happen. Okay, awesome. We see the little bit of selling come in this move. So insiders might be selling here. What do you need to see some kind of like actual crash signal? Well, we're seeing it on XLU. So if I start to see it on ANF, then this can actually pull down. I'm going to want to see that cross on this MACD. So let's go see if we have potential for a reversal in trend. I would say not so much as of right now. We're not really that close to the center line, and we're not really showing any divergences. But if just the market, because we're seeing divergences on a lot of other things, if the market pulls down, you can bet that ANF probably will follow. But I don't really have any good entry points based on what's happening. 30-minute, could that go negative trend? Okay, so maybe I could pay attention to a 30-minute. Right, I pay attention to a 30-minute anytime this actually confirms divergence, if it's going to create one, right? Create a divergence, then I have a reason to take the trade, right? Then I have a reason to take the trade. Maybe I make ranges for this going into next week. Okay, so that's what I would say about ANF, but the overall thing here is if this daily can confirm down, well, it's still far away from the center line, but you could say it has the opportunity to go negative, but just pay attention. That could turn right back around. We have to pay attention a lot to that happening. I didn't even know Abercrombie and Fitch was like a thing. Which one is better to trade? Lulu is more popular, more asked about, I would say. So Lulu heading, oh God, Lulu is terrible looking though. You got daily divergence here. I would not go anywhere near this. If anything, it's telling you, hey, ANF, if they are similar, could follow this trend eventually. But my God, that is an ugly look. But look at this. I mean, this is cool. Even on the daily scale, you can see trade setups, even for maybe even an options play for say 2 weeks to a month out. Okay, we see this downward move right here. You say, hey, the direction is down. Okay, boom, that heads down. Now, daily, you're going to want to be careful with it, but look at that. You get 326 all the way down to 296 right now. Good trade setup there as a swing trade, right? This would be a swing trade. And if you wanted to get in early on the swing trade, you would say, oh, this built up. Now we're getting closing bars below. Now I'm out of the position because it's above. Okay, now it's below the 5. You could have taken this at 346 as a swing trader, and it would have made sense. The divergence here, the reason that I'm not talking about this divergence, yes, it is steep on the MACD, but look at the RSI. It's cooked. You could get a bounce from here, but I'm seeing no reversal signal. And if I go look at a 2-hour, I highly doubt this has divergence. Okay, do you see how it's just like crazy to the downside? This is just not the best looking setup. Okay, so when you're looking at a stock, you want to just acknowledge to yourself and be like, is this, like just take a step back, sit back in your chair, which I have to move my mic closer to me. Sit back in your chair and be like, is this the best setup, or could this just keep ripping to the downside in oversold, areas? It looks like it could really just keep ripping down, so I'm not convinced. If that turns up, I'll maybe change my theory a little bit. But is this the best stock to trade right now? I would say no. If anything, I would just keep swing trading it because the selling is very dramatic. Now, we are seeing tapering and things like that, but until I see an obvious signal, I want it to be obvious. I do not want to give them an easy opportunity to fake me out, right? And by they, I mean the algorithms of the market makers. I do not want them to have an easy time faking me out. But I assume at this level, we are going to see major put volume, and we could see some kind of bounce maybe before earnings. And then we don't want to mess around with earnings. So it's just not the best trade setup as of right now is what I would say. All right, guys, I am going to have to hop off. I'm going to go help with baby girl. We still have a lot to organize and stuff like that, but I will be putting out a YouTube video. And we're thinking about adding some closing streams throughout the week for members only. I'm thinking about making just a little membership to make sure we're not getting some random people coming in. We've gotten some spammers in the past, but you guys know I appreciate you guys being here. I'm not going to make every single stream a membership only or something like that. I like our morning streams. I think it's very helpful for everyone. And to be extra helpful, that course, I think volatility is right around the corner. XLU confirmed the move. Or it is confirming the move today. So when volatility ramps up, I think that you need to realize that it's going to be very complicated to trade in this market. And I think the course can really help you out. So go check that out. The link's down in the description. I know a bunch of people in here have taken it, and I do appreciate that. And if you haven't, I'm going to leave the stream for a little bit on so you can ask some questions, and maybe someone who has taken the course can give some insight into how it has helped them out. And we're going to be adding to that course as well. This weekend, I'm going to sit down and make a couple videos to add to that course and teach you guys how to not get screwed. How to know when to get out of a trade is very, very powerful. So thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you for liking, subscribing. You guys are fantastic. I love you guys. And thank you guys so much for being a part of this community. And I will see you guys later. Peace. I'll even mark off a level to pay attention to for you guys who stuck around to the end. What's the level? I'm going to give you the exact level because you guys stuck around to the end. So 1038.41. This is the weekly expected move, guys. I'm going to give you that for Nvidia because they had earnings. Just so you're not confused, I'll make that purple for you so you know that's a weekly move. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for joining. Hope you guys have a good one. Peace out. Willow, it's going to be like really, really cheap to join. It's mainly just to filter out people that come in and spam. It's going to be like maybe $5 to join just as a supporter and to join the live streams. All right, guys, I gotta go. I'm out of here. I'm literally leaving my desk. I promise this time. I'm out of here. Stop trying. No, don't say anything. Stop.